As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life, a real Mars is nothing left. Cause I've been brassing and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Be treated like a pro, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying and junk. I really hate the joke, but I gotta love. As they cope, I see myself in the pistol smoke pools. I'm the kind of G that let our homies wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the sheet line.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Took out the situation and they got me facing. I can't let her know it. I was raised by the shit, so I gotta be there with the little team. Too much Stella bitch and watch it got me chasing dreams. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Yeah, my tin in my hand and the cream in my eye. I've loped out cakes to set, chip and bacon. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my acres. Fool, that ain't like nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm never like to Italian, but can I shake? I'm 23 now, but will I let the see 24 the way they just going? I don't know.
Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Power at the muddy, bunny in the power. Been it after me, power after hour. Everybody's ready, but I may look at this going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's chicken. They say I got the learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they teach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they fuck. That's why I don't want life designers up for.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me?
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life, a real Mars is nothing left. Cause I've been brassing and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Be treated like a pro, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying and junk. I really hate the joke, but I gotta love. As they cope, I see myself in the pistol smoke pools. I'm the kind of G that let our homies wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the sheet line.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's
situation and they got me facing. I can't ever know it. I was raised by the shit, so I gotta be there with the little team. Too much Stella bitch and watch it got me chasing dreams. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my tin in my hand and the cream in my eye. I'm for loped out cakes to set, chip and bacon. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my acres. Fool, that bang like nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm there but like do it down. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I let the see 24 the way they just going? I don't know.
Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Power at the muddy, bunny in the flower. Been it after me, power after hour. Everybody's ready, but I may look at it's going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's shaking. They say I got the learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they teach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they fuck. That's why I don't I like designers up for.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me?
What's good, everybody out there in the YouTube streets? This is your boy Hustler and Muscular, also known as HNM, ready to drop some more gems. Once again, stomping harder than a pair of Tims. Yeah. But anyways, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the channel. Hope you like this panel. Let's get this shit lit up like a candle. Shout out to everybody that's watching me tonight. Please be sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Instagram if you ever want to follow me. Make sure you donate to my Cash App as well. And as usual, when you come on my panel, make sure you keep all foul language at a minimal. I would say no foul language, period, but knowing me, I'll be cussing up a storm the second someone or something annoys me. So it is what it is. So keep the foul language at a minimum, okay? Yeah, like I said, this is my Cash App and this is my Instagram. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Help support your boy as he makes this channel grow. All right. Now, today's topic, I want to talk about how the single mother / baby mama culture is a detriment to our society. What do I mean by single mothers? They're basically women who had kids out of wedlock and the father is nowhere in the damn picture. Either the father didn't want to stick around and take care of the child with this woman, or the woman, 9 times out of 10, drove him away. So he was not able to even stick around and be a father to the child. But either way you look at it, single parent households, especially single mother households, can be a detriment to our society. Why? Because a father figure, a strong father figure, is not present in the household. Thus, there's no law, order, structure, or masculine leadership. It's just all feminine energy leading by feelings. Now, don't get me wrong, the mama's role in the family is important. Let's make that abundantly clear. A mother's role in a family is always and forever will be an important aspect of any family. The only problem is if that mother is doing everything, being mom and dad, that could be a problem because she can only be one, and that's the mother. So if there's no father to instill some masculine traits in the son and teach the daughter what true masculinity really is, then these kids are just going to run wild, do whatever they want, and become delinquents to society. And as of for the last few decades, we've noticed that there are way more single parent households now than there was back in the day. We have way more homes run by single moms and way less married couples, let alone homes that are run by single fathers. Now, it's a common fact that a single father household is not nearly as bad as a single mom household, but in a perfect world, and if I had my way, I want both mom and dad to be in the goddamn household. But we don't live in a perfect world, now do we? So we just got to make do with whatever happens. But yeah, it's just way too many of them, way too many kids who don't have fathers. And the statistic is, and there's been a lot of statistics that state that a lot of kids who come from fatherless homes are more likely to drop out of school, join gangs or whatever. And they've been saying this for the last 30 plus years from what I can remember. And it still remains relevant even to this day. It's still relevant to this day. A lot of these kids who are in jail, running the streets, being reckless with their seeds, and dealing with trash women, a lot of them come from single parent households, primarily single mom households. A lot of them do. A lot of these young boys and girls running wild they came from single parent households. And again, I'm not finna say all single moms are toxic, but we all know damn well a lot of them are, and a lot of men who a lot of people who grow up in single parent households do not get the best outlook on life when they're older, because they're always looking at everything from a woman's perspective. Even the great Derek Jackson himself admitted he came from a single mom household. That's why he saw everything from a female's perspective, never looking at anything from a man's perspective. Always believing that the woman is right. Always believing that the women could do no wrong. If you let it get out of hand, that's the kind of sons you're going to be raising. You're more than likely going to be raising a bunch of beta male simps who are just going to take women's side on everything and not look at anything from a balanced perspective. Again, this may not apply to everybody, but we're not going to act like a bunch of fools and say this kind of shit doesn't happen. Yes, it does happen. Now, how does this affect young girls? Young girls are going to see their moms being strong, being independent, don't need a man for this, that, and the third. And they're going to think, well, if mommy can do it, I can do it too. Daddy was a loser, so I guess all men are losers too, not knowing the full scope of the damn story. Because yes, some of these single mothers will feed their kids a bunch of bullshit lies about the father and why things did not work out between them. Now, granted, there are some deadbeat dads out there who don't deserve to be fathers, because yes, we hear stories about fathers abusing their kids or whatever. So yeah, there are some cases of that happening, but that's not the case all the time. Anytime there's a what they call DV situation, it's always the man that's painted as the victim, and it's always the woman that's painted. The man is painted as the victimizer, and the woman is painted as the victim. But you do have those cases where women put their hands on men and abuse the shit out of men. That kind of shit does happen. Yes, it does happen. We all know that this kind of stuff does happen. In cases like that, yes, it does. But they're always going to believe the woman. So now the man has no access to his kids because a single mom drove them away. But yeah, we are noticing lately that there's way more single parent households nowadays than it is married couples out here. It's way less two-parent households out here. Now, before I play this little clip right here, I want to give everybody, of course, the fair use warning. In this video, this young lady is going to talk about how the 1960s welfare system led to the downside of marriages and incentivized the baby mama slash single mother culture. Let's take a look at this. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use.
Why is fatherlessness still a growing issue in this country? The 1960s, some well-meaning policies were put forth that ended up not doing so well. In fact, they actually incentivized single mother households. Specifically, in 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson launched his Great Society, an initiative with the goal of beating poverty, reducing crime, and promoting equality in America. His welfare system was very generous, particularly for single mothers, but there was one rule that ruined it all: the man in the house rule, which essentially said that if you have a working or able-bodied man living in your house, we cannot help you. They even went as far as to send federal agents to these households to make sure that no man was living there. If I was a mom at the time, I would throw the man out of the house too to get that check. These things don't exactly promote marriage. This is exactly why we shouldn't judge policies based on their intentions, but actually on their results, and these results don't bode well.
Damn, ain't that about some shit? Damn. What's that wrestler Ron Simmons would say? Damn. So that's how it all started. The 1960s welfare system incentivized, it gave less incentives for women to get married and more incentives to be single mothers. The man in the house rule simply said that there's a working man in your household, you don't get any government benefits, which gave women all the reasons in the world to say no to marriages and say yes to single motherhood. So that's why they're not holding themselves accountable for having kids by Pookies and Ray Ray, because they know at the end of the day, the government is always going to have their back. That's some deep shit right there. That's how it all got started. What started out as a program to help women, particularly single mothers, turned into some big debacle of women being incentivized to just say no to marriages and just embrace single motherhood. This is why single motherhood is the way it is now. As long as they got government assistance to bail them out and back them up and give them what they want, yeah, they are definitely not going to hold themselves accountable. Now, for those of y'all that missed it, let's watch that video one more time, because that was just too insightful. Let's watch this one more time, because man, oh man.
Why is fatherlessness still a growing issue in this country? The 1960s, some well-meaning policies were put forth that ended up not doing so well. In fact, they actually incentivized single mother households. Specifically, in 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson launched his Great Society, an initiative with the goal of beating poverty, reducing crime, and promoting equality in America. His welfare system was very generous, particularly for single mothers, but there was one rule that ruined it all: the man in the house rule, which essentially said that if you have a working or able-bodied man living in your house, we cannot help you. They even went as far as to send federal agents to these households to make sure that no man was living there. If I was a mom at the time, I would throw the man out of the house too to get that check. These things don't exactly promote marriage. This is exactly why we shouldn't judge policies based on their intentions, but actually on their results, and these results don't bode well.
Yep, and there you have it. It was that man in the house rule that fucked it up for everybody. And like the young lady said, we should judge policies based on the results they're producing, not what their intended goal is. Because if that intended goal has not been reached in all these decades, why the fuck are they still promoting this shit, you know? That was in the 1960s. We're in the 2020s now, and it's gotten way worse ever since then. So bottom line, thanks to these 1960s government-funded these 1960s welfare programs that started in the 1960s, you know, to help single mothers, now women feel like they can just have a kid out of wedlock and the government's going to constantly bail them out because they're going to give them assistance. As long as there's no man in the household, they're going to get that check no matter what. So they'll do whatever it takes to just make sure there's no man in the house. Which explains why a lot of these single moms drive the father away in the first place. Because remember, you don't get no welfare check or whatever government benefits you sign up for if there's a working man in your house. I mean, why would you? You both can put your incomes together, help take care of that child together. Bottom line, point blank. So there's no real reason for you to have government assistance in that case, when you think about it. But yeah. That's how it all got started. And I think it's just crazy. So it's no wonder less and less people want to get married. It's a crying shame that the government would create a program that's supposed to help benefit single mothers, but instead they create a program that just destroyed marriages and caused marriage rates to drop decades and decades and decades along the line. Because remember, women act on feelings and emotions, not so much logic. So you could argue that maybe women should just have the common sense to just reject these narratives and do what's right. Well, I've learned to expect less and hope for the best. So you're going to give out a program that gives women less incentives to take marriages seriously. You best believe some knuckleheads out there are gonna take advantage of the system. Not everyone. You can't just trust people to have the common sense to just reject it. No, you can't do that. Give a woman an inch, she'll take a mile. She now has her inch, so you best believe she gonna take advantage of this any way and every way she possibly can. That's the bottom line. Anybody want to come up and talk about this? Single mother culture is a detriment to society. The link is right there in the description. Feel free to come up and speak your piece on it. Plus, I pinned it to the top as well. Anybody want to come up and speak their piece? Do you think single mother culture, or AKA baby mama culture, is a detriment to our society? Yes, no, maybe. Speak your piece on it. But yeah, I honestly believe, yes, it is. It is a detriment to our society, in my opinion. Because when these young boys don't have strong fathers to teach them this, that, and the third, I mean, sure, they know right from wrong thanks to the mom, but they don't have a lot of the masculine traits that's going to help them not only grow, but how to interact with the opposite sex. They're not going to properly know their worth as they get older. And all these young girls are not going to have a sense of what masculinity is because they never experienced that before. So yeah, it's a real crapshoot out there. It is a real crapshoot out there. Oh man. Okay, I got another video to show you. This one is called Dating as a Single Mother. Check this out. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen, fair use.
At 25, what's dating like?
Unfortunately, don't do it. It's scary out there.
Why do you say that?
I have a kid, so my last relationship obviously hasn't been great, but I don't know.
Do you think having a kid has hurt your chances of finding a partner?
Absolutely, absolutely. Last person that he told me he wanted a relationship, but like a few months in, he was like, just kidding, like I'm not mature enough to be with a woman that has a kid.
And how old was he?
26.
Do you feel like he was mature enough?
I don't know, but I wasn't asking him to like raise my child.
Well,
I just want him to date me, not my child.
What were your expectations in the long term?
Obviously, eventually you'd meet my daughter, but again, she has a dad.
Yep, and there you go. Dating as a single mother is harder than it is for childless women, because no man wants to waste his time trying to deal with another man's child. That's how drama gets started. You heard it straight out of her mouth. She said she did not want to date. She said she dealt with a guy who didn't want to take her seriously because she's a single mother. And I understand wholeheartedly. I honestly don't support the idea of men taking care of other people's kids. I mean, if they sign on for it, it is what it is. I ain't gonna fault you for it, but again, like I said, I'm not going to sign on for that. But for those of y'all that want to sign on for that, it is what it is. But know what you're getting yourself into and make sure you vet the woman. Because it's a common fact. Single moms are not the best choices. Now, again, not all single mothers are bad. But the fact that you got kids by another man, that can stir up trauma. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. As usual, we're going to take a look at some videos talking about this whole single motherhood. And again, like you saw in that previous video, that woman just told you that the guy that she was interested in didn't want to take her seriously because she was a single mother. And I don't blame him, honestly. I mean, have I dealt with single mothers? Yes, absolutely. I've hung out with some, taking some out on a few dinner dates. Well, not dinner dates, but more like lunch dates or whatever, the chain restaurants. They were okay to hang out with, but unfortunately, I couldn't find myself taking them seriously. Why? Because first of all, you got kids by another man, and I don't want to be responsible for someone else's kids. And second of all, I don't have kids of my own, so that kind of makes it uneven. And the sad reality is a vast majority of our modern women are single mothers. You may find a small bunch out there that are either young and don't have children, or they're older and don't have children. But that leads to the next problem. If you're an older man and you don't have kids of your own, let's say you meet an older woman in her 30s or 40s who doesn't have kids. If she's 35 or older, she can't even give you kids. So what's the point of you marrying her? So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You don't want a single mother because you ain't responsible for somebody else's kids, but at the same time, women who don't have kids at an older age, they're not fertile enough to even have kids. Now, granted, you can't have kids past 40, but my understanding is it's going to be a high-risk pregnancy. It's not going to be easy for you to have a healthy child past the age of 40. That's why it's best to have them when you're in your 20s. That does not include being irresponsible with your seed. All right, let's get into our first video of the day. This one comes from Sigma Traits. Shout out to Sigma Traits. This one's called Single Mothers Have Destroyed Our Culture. Okay, let's hear what he has to say about this whole thing. Fair use, fair use.
Let's stir the pot a bit. Society's adulation for single mothers needs a reality check, especially when it seems like they're sculpting future delinquents destined for a life of chaos.
Yep, as I said earlier, a lot of these delinquents and street kids, they mainly come from single-parent households with no father around. Yeah.
Growing up in the concrete jungle of a tough city, surrounded by hardened individuals in an environment that doesn't pull punches, I've had my fair share of encounters with less than ideal characters. Strangely enough, the violent or worrisome folks I've met all seem to share a common upbringing, raised by single mothers. Contrastingly, the well-adjusted good kids hailed from stable homes with the luxury of having two parents at the helm, while the bullies lacking empathy emerged from the chaos of broken households. Now,
well, that concept is really nothing new. I had a guy tell me that because he came from a two-parent household, people will make fun of him and call him a lame or a loser. Oh, there goes the Cosby Kid. I'm like, what? Okay, whatever happened to the glory days of the good old days of glorifying two-parent households? Nowadays, you got it to where you come from a two-parent household, something wrong with you. I mean, has a single mama culture gotten so out of control that we've lost all value towards people who come from two-parent households, let alone the two-parent households themselves? Seriously? That we got to make fun of kids who come from actual two-parent households with a fucking mom and a dad? That's how far we've fallen? It's a real shithole out there, I'm telling you. But anyways, fair use.
This isn't a sweeping judgment on every kid from a single-parent setup, but there's a troubling pattern that can't be ignored. What's truly mind-boggling is society's penchant for showering single mothers with praise, even when their decision-making and responsibilities seem questionable at best. It's almost as if we're collectively donning rose-tinted glasses, blind to the potential ramifications of romanticizing what might be a less than ideal family structure. So perhaps it's time for a reality check, a moment of pause to reconsider our standing ovation for single mothers and delve into the nuances of their choices and the impact on the next generation.
Children or future criminals? Society should reconsider its praise for single mothers who,
oh yes, they should. Indeed, they should.
In many cases, seem to be raising troublemakers destined for a life of crime. Growing up in a tough city surrounded by hard people in a challenging environment, I've encountered my fair share of unsavory characters. Strikingly, I've never come across a violent or worrisome person who wasn't raised by a single mother. All the well-adjusted, good kids I knew came from stable families with two parents at home, while the bullies lacking empathy hailed from broken homes.
Yep, that's nothing new. A lot of these school bullies and people running the streets, they come from two-parent households that are mainly just broken homes. Now, granted, I can't say this, though. Just because you have two parents in a household doesn't guarantee that the family's not going to be broken. If both mom and dad are out of control on some and got shitty ass habits and shitty ass behaviors, that's not going to cut it either. So yeah, both parents need to be stable. Both parents need to be on their shit when it comes to raising kids. Because if both parents is bad enough having one parent that's not stable and out of control, but it's worse when you got two parents. Seriously, you got kids who come from dysfunctional families with alcoholic mom and or alcoholic dad. Sometimes both parents are alcoholics and drug addicts. Both of them can be out of control. So that's what can happen. You can't do that. And that's also not to say that just because somebody comes from a two-parent household that they're going to be this all-around good person, because I've heard stories of kids who come from two-parent households, yet they still get themselves in trouble. They still want to rebel. They still want to go out there and do whatever it is the bad people are doing. So yeah, nothing in life is guaranteed, but we can all attest to the fact that single-parent households are the most detriment. And it's easier when you have two-parent households. But yeah, you got young girls that's gonna rebel. You got young boys that's gonna rebel. So yeah, ain't no guarantee anything's gonna work out in the long run. But you'd be better to trust a two-parent household rather than a single-parent household, especially a single mother household. Bottom line, fair use, fair use.
Of course, this isn't a blanket statement about all kids from single-parent households, but a significant number seems to follow this unfortunate trajectory. Despite this observation, society appears to shower single mothers with praise, despite their questionable decisions and irresponsibility. The evidence is glaring when you delve into prison statistics. Single mothers, as a collective, acknowledging there might be exceptions, don't seem to be producing law-abiding citizens. Isn't it just common sense that a family with a mother, father, and children is the ideal environment for raising kids? Consider the statistics. 70% of juveniles in detention, 63% of juvenile suicides, 71% of high school dropouts, 90% of juvenile runaways or homeless, and 75% of juveniles in substance abuse programs come from single mother homes. It's an unfortunate reality, but it needs to be acknowledged.
That's a good point. Okay, this internet want to act funny again, so hold on. And by the way, anybody want to come up and talk about this, the link is right there in the description.
%90 of juvenile runaways are homeless.
All right, I'm back. Damn this T-Mobile internet, but just bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Fair use, fair use.
What's bewildering is how single mothers often blame men for leaving, but rarely take responsibility for choosing poorly in the first place.
Exactly. And that's something we don't hear enough of. We always hear how the fathers walk out of the household, how the father just stepped out, or he was just an asshole. But we never hear what the woman has to say. We never hear the woman. We never hear what part that the woman played in all this. Because again, as we just talked about in that video with the 1960s government funding program, women are less incentivized to even stay in marriages, let alone stay with the men that they had kids by. Because in their minds, it's like the government is always going to back them up and bail them out. So we can already attest to the fact that there's really no incentive for them to stick around with the father anyway. So we have to suspect that. Well, again, this is not to say all single moms are bad, but this is just something we have to think about, thanks to these dumbass programs by the government. The same program that's proved to be a detriment to society because there's less incentives to get married now. So yes, we have to think about this kind of stuff. Okay. Well, yes, we do have to think about this kind of stuff. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
Seemingly prioritize their own desires over the future well-being of their children. The consequences are evident years down the line, yet their primary focus remains on pursuing relationships with bad boy figures. They act surprised when these men, like Blowtorch, the ex-convict, don't stick around, or when they do, engage in harmful behavior. The possibility that their behavior might be unappealing to average, intelligent men never seems to cross their minds. It's a laughable sense of entitlement. The true tragedy lies in the impact on the children who grow up emulating their parents, perpetuating the cycle. It's akin to a social virus affecting our species, albeit not biologically, but socially. Fortunately, statistics for single fathers paint a much more positive picture than those for single mothers.
Exactly. Something I'll get into later on, by the way. But it's been said that kids raised by single fathers are more successful than the ones raised by a single mother. And maybe that has something to do with this whole thing. So yeah, some women are angry and bitter at the fact that single fathers can do a better job than they can. I'm not finna say single fathers are the ideal thing all the time. Again, if I had my way, I'd say let's have both parents in the damn household. But if I have to choose the lesser, I'm definitely going with the single father household, because at least that father, and that's a huge if he's a good father, he's going to at least promote structure within that household. Structure, discipline, and order within that household, the way it needs to be. That's the way this stuff needs to be. But anyways, fair use.
Downsides of dating single moms.
Here we go. The downsides of dating single moms. I've been there myself, so I know.
Now let's talk about the downsides of dating single moms. The concise answer is you'll never be a priority. Buckle up for
exactly. Her kids are always going to come first, in other words.
Some controversial real talk about dating single moms. Brace yourself, because the unfiltered truth is about to hit you. The TLDR version is simple. You won't be a priority. Now let's dive into the juicy details.
And me personally, I don't mind if a single mom makes her kids a priority over me. Because when it comes to dating, when it comes to dealing with single moms, she's not a priority for me. Yeah, think about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a man and you're dating a single mother, knowing she got a kid by some other man that she's not even in a relationship with, why would you want her to make you a priority in the first place? Seriously. That's something you got to think about too. If you're dealing with a single mother who had kids out of wedlock by a man that she couldn't keep or whatever, or he didn't want to stick around for whatever reason, you should be glad she's not making you a top priority. You just get in where you fit in, come around when you want to come around when it's convenient for the both of you. So honestly, I don't need a single mother choosing me over her kids or making me a top priority, because at the ending of the day, you are not a priority for me. You're just someone I can go to when I just want to have some freaky fun with no strings attached. That's all there is to it. Plain and simple. So be grateful she's not making you a top priority. For those that want relationships with these single moms, you're in for a rude awakening, as this man's about to tell you. But fair use.
Dating a single mom is like signing up for a supporting role where you're expected to play second fiddle to her kids.
Right.
And guess what? Your feelings might just be tossed out the window when the breakup bomb inevitably drops. You'll find yourself perpetually on the sidelines, with your concerns silenced because, hey, kids come first, and your place is nowhere on the priority list.
Yep, exactly. Again, for men that are not looking for a serious relationship, this wouldn't even be this was not even a concern. I used to tell any single mother, your kids are going to come first, mainly because I'm not sure. But then again, I'm not trying to be in a relationship with you. So that's just my take on that whole thing. But anyways, fair use.
But wait, there's more. Factor in the potential drama from her friends and ex-husband, who might inexplicably hate your guts. Ready for a life where you're not even on the list of priorities? If you're cool with that, go ahead. Be the unsung hero in her family drama.
I am nobody's fucking hero, you know.
However, if you're not into being a perpetual sidekick and prefer being a relationship VIP, it might be a genius move to consider that maybe, just maybe, single mothers are best left to their solo adventures. You're expected to put her and her kids first, and your feelings will likely be disregarded when the inevitable breakup happens. Dating a single mom often involves being constantly sidelined in favor of her children's desires. You're not allowed to voice your concerns without being labeled the heartless guy.
Not to mention, you can't even discipline the kids because technically they're not even your kids. Wow. So any of y'all want to date a single mom, any of y'all out there listening, if y'all want to date single mothers, you can if you want to, but just know what the hell you're getting yourself into. But anyways, fair use.
Kids first, guy nowhere on the list. Add to this the fact that her friends and ex-husband may harbor unwarranted animosity toward you. If you're comfortable never being a priority while shouldering the responsibilities for her and her family, then by all means, proceed. Otherwise, it might be wise to consider that single mothers, in all fairness, should remain single. You can sidestep all these issues by simply not pursuing relationships with single mothers. In my experience,
Absolutely.
single mothers can be likened to the nice guys of the female world. Similar to the nice guy syndrome, where a man feels entitled to a woman's attention for merely meeting basic social expectations, single mothers often harbor an unearned sense of entitlement for a relationship, coupled.
Wow, that's pretty deep. A man who feels entitled to a woman's attention just because he meets all the basic standards and qualifications. It's the same way women feel entitled to a man's time and attention because, hell, she's a woman and she has kids to take care of, and she wants to put all that burden on you. Ain't that about something? I never thought about it like that, but that's true. Fair use.
With a lack of basic maturity and outdated views on gender roles. Not dating them doesn't diminish a man's worth. In fact, it's a reflection of their consistent display of immaturity and the belief that men should be there solely to support them. The harsh reality is that many single mothers exhibit toxic traits. From my perspective, most single mothers are a recipe for disaster.
And I've experienced it myself, so I know he ain't lying.
And I avoid forming connections with this archetype due to the unnecessary drama they tend to bring into one's life.
The only problem is, a vast majority of women, for as long as I can remember, are single mothers. Good luck trying to find an older woman or even a younger woman that doesn't already have a child.
Notably, these single mothers are often the ones attempting reproductive coercion, seeking to trap a guy into a relationship by having a child. It's a manipulative tactic that can lead to the unsuspecting guy being financially responsible through child support. In many cases, especially those marked by entitlement, viewing single motherhood as a massive red flag is a reasonable stance. Playing the victim is a common strategy employed by these single mothers. Despite having a multitude of dating options, they willingly choose to engage with someone who might be considered less than ideal. It's improbable that a guy suddenly transforms into a bad boy player out of nowhere. These women...
Exactly. They want them same good men to become the very thing that they find attractive. When the common thing to do is just be yourself. If she don't like you, whatever. But society is so quick to put all the blame on men and say men are the problem that it causes us to overanalyze ourselves and think to ourselves, maybe I am the fucking problem. Maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to be whatever it is the modern woman finds attractive. Maybe that's what I need to do. You like thugs? You like the one to be throwing up the gang signs? Okay, I can be just that. And then they get you to shut the fuck up and start putting the goddamn blame on me. That's what they're trying to do. And that's what they're pushing for. Put all the blame on men and encourage them to change their ways so they can be what these women find attractive. Yeah, it's a shithole. But anyways, fair use.
Likely knew what they were getting into, attempting to trap such a guy with the prospect of having a child and subsequently seeking a more stable partner, often labeled as a beta male, to fulfill the role of a real man by covering bills and helping raise the child.
And what real man raises another man's child? My God, what real man does that? Yeah.
The prevalence of single mothers on dating sites is hard to ignore. However, it raises the question.
I can attest to that, because every dating app I've gone on, I've had way too many single moms, young and older, mainly in the older range. 30, 35, 36, 37 to 45-year-old women are all single moms. You'd be hard-pressed to find a woman today that doesn't already have children. And if you do find one, like I said earlier, can she even reproduce? So those are things you got to consider. But anyways, fair use.
Question: why would a man want to raise another man's child?
Good question.
A sensible man typically aspires to build his own legacy and invest time in nurturing his biological offspring.
Exactly.
Hence, steering clear of single mothers might be a prudent choice, considering the complexities and potential pitfalls associated with such relationships. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe
Okay, what I'm gonna do is take a 1 minute and 30-second stream break. I'll be right back. But until then, enjoy this. Oh yeah, that's enough of that. But anyways, back to our discussion about how single motherhood is being a detriment to our society. Now, in that video, they talked about all the downsides that come with dating single mothers. Again, if you decide to date a single mother, you are not a priority on her list. Her kids or her children or child are almost always going to come first. I'm afraid that there's just no getting around that. And as I mentioned earlier, I personally don't mind a woman putting me as a non-priority. If she's a single mother with several kids, why would I want to be her priority in the first place? I personally wouldn't mind that. I'll just come around when it's my time to have some fun with you. I don't want to be a priority for someone that later on down the line is going to expect me to take care of their kids. Hell to the no. You honestly think that I'm going to deal with a female who has kids by another man, knowing that she's going to expect me to try to take care of her and her kids?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no. Hell to the
no, no. Yep, that sums it up. I would never in a million years sign on for that. No, I would never do that. It's just not for me. All right, then. All right, then I have another video to show you. and this is taken from Samantha Lee, you know, Tyree Gibson's ex-wife. Yeah, taken from her. Let's see what she has to say about being a single mother and how hard it is. Let's hear it. Fair use.
All right, y'all. So here's the deal. I'm about to share the uncomfortable truth about dating a single mom. Now, I've seen it all over the internet, and I decided as a single mother, let me just be honest. Let's get into it, family. I'm telling on myself, but it's all good. Number one, you will have less availability. Can't be too flexible with the scheduling. It is what it is. Number two, there will be more expectation. When a child is involved, you are dating intentionally, you're gonna be looking for more. Because it's not just about you, it's about your babies too. Number three, this goes along with the last one, more picky or pickier. Not sure which one is grammatically correct. Number four, more intentional. There will be less games being played. Can't speak in extreme, but I would assume most women that have children are going to be way more intentional. Number five, the potential of more responsibility. If it goes well, you'll be a stepdad. So it does come with more. Number six, the potential of more baggage. Number seven, may be way more mature to the increase of responsibility of caring for a child.
Yep, that about sums it up. Let's watch that one more time just for good measures, okay?
All right, y'all. So here's the deal. I'm about to share the uncomfortable truth about dating a single mom. Now, I've seen it all over the internet, and I decided as a single mother, let me just be honest. Let's get into it, family. I'm telling on myself, but it's all good. Number one, you will have less availability. Can't be too flexible with the scheduling. It is what it is. Number two, there will be more expectation. When a child is involved, you are dating intentionally, you're going to be looking for more. Because it's not just about you, it's about your babies too. Number three, this goes along with the last one, more picky or pickier. Not sure which one is grammatically correct. Number four, more intentional. There will be less games being played. Can't speak in extreme, but I would assume most women that have children are going to be way more intentional. Number five, the potential of more responsibility. If it goes well, you'll be a stepdad. So it does come with more. Number six, the potential of more baggage. Number seven, may be way more mature to the increase of responsibility of caring for a child.
Yep, once again, that sums it all up. And that's another thing. If you're dating a single mother, she's not going to have a very flexible schedule. If she want to go out with a man, she got to constantly find a babysitter, whether it be a neighbor or a family member or a friend, whatever. So yeah, you're constantly trying to find somebody to take care of your kids, especially if your kids are still little. Now, if they're teenagers or pre-teenagers, okay, that's one thing. They can stay home by their damn self. But when they're like in middle school, preschool, that's a problem because you're not going to have that kind of time on your hands as a single mother. And yeah, you are going to be pickier because these women are looking for a man that's possibly going to be a stepfather to their kids. And even if they're not looking for a stepdaddy, which some of them are, they want to make sure that they don't just bring anybody around their kids. Because, you know, you got some single moms out here that just bring any dude around their kids. I've seen that. I know guys who went through that stuff. Hell, I went through it myself. Had a chick that just brought me around her kids, didn't have a care in the world about them. Now, I understand maybe it's a man that she can trust, but the kids don't know that. You still have to be careful with who you trust around your children. That goes for men and for women. If all you single fathers out there, same thing with y'all. You can't just bring any old woman around y'all kids like that. No, it just don't work that way. You have to be careful either way it goes. You still have to be careful either way it goes. And so, yeah, they are going to be pickier and they are going to expect more, have higher expectations. I mean, which begs the question, why didn't she have these expectations back when she was still childless? Why didn't she have high expectations for the man she wanted, for the man that she was dealing with before she got pregnant? Don't y'all think it's mind-boggling how women will up their standards when they pop out a kid by a man that's not going to stick around with them? The standards you should have had for the guy that you got the kid by, now you want to set that standard for the next man that you're dealing with, when all you have to do is set that standard from the fucking beginning with the last guy. I get it. Sometimes we get deceived, but that's why you got to vet somebody or don't take a chance, period. So yes, It is something. It is something. Oh boy. But yeah, shout out to Samantha Lee, the ex-wife of Tyrese Gibson. I just think it's amazing. She's begging for that man to come back. So hell, it kind of made sense coming from her, because a little monkey ass trying to get Tyrese to come back. Yeah. It's amazing how y'all ladies will divorce a man or dump a man, and then when shit hit the fan, y'all begging that nigga to come back. Honestly, why even bother? And then y'all get pissed off when they gotta move on to find somebody else. I mean, come on. You should have thought about that stuff from the beginning, honestly. And now you're a single mom because you put yourself in that position. He's just a contributing factor to the matter because he couldn't be responsible with his goddamn seed. It's a real crapshoot. But anyways, let me get my next video set up. Give me a second, people. And we're back. All right, let's get into this next video right here. This one is from, who is this? Thomas Sowell. He's talking about the rise of single mothers in Black households in America. Shout out to Thomas Sowell for this one. Let's hear his take on this whole thing. Let's hear what Mr. Thomas Sowell has to say about this. Fair use, fair use.
Well, you're creating a situation where if the man stays there, the government will not give the woman welfare.
Exactly. We talked about that in the first video. The 1960s welfare program gave women less of a reason to stick around with the man they got a kid by. If there's a working man in that household, she gets no benefits. Bottom line, point is simple. She gets no benefits. So that's all the reason to push him out the house. Anyways, fair use.
And if he leaves, it will. And so they're paying. When you pay people not to get married, more people don't get married.
Absolutely. Now we have a merch that can purchase and proudly wear. Okay, that's something else. But like the man said, you're paying people to just stay single, and you're basically paying women to be single moms. That's the best way to sum it up. Paying women to be single mothers. Ain't that about some shit? But anyways, fair use.
Most Black children were being raised in two-parent families in 1960. 30 years after the liberal welfare state, the great majority of Black children were being raised by single parents.
Yes.
What?
Ain't that about some shit? Oh man, let's look at that again. Ain't that about some shit? Most children were being raised in two-parent household families in the 1960s. But 30 years after the liberal welfare state, a majority of Black children are raised in single-parent households. Ain't that about some shit? Like I said, liberalism, November of 2014. Ain't that about some shit? So yeah, another liberal movement wrecks the community. As if the women's liberation wasn't bad enough, now we got this bullshit wrecking the households. Yeah. This is why we have so many single parent households now.
Years after the liberal welfare state, the great majority of black children were being raised by single parents.
Yes.
How does that, by the way, we should note that Patrick Moynihan publishes the Moynihan Report in 1965.
Yes.
And he's alarmed because the illegitimacy rate among black families is 25% then. Now, among whites, it's over a third.
Yeah.
Hispanics, it's over half. And among African Americans, it's over 70%. What's going on there?
So damn, it's way more single parent households in American black communities than it is any other community out there. Ain't that some shit? Oh my God. I know this isn't funny, but man, I can't help but laugh at this because it's mind boggling. But anyways, fair use.
Well, this is, again, this too, you find the same thing in Britain. You find it in France and Norway. You find it in the Western world.
Yeah, Western society, westernized countries.
In fact,
The dissolution of the family structure.
oh yeah, there are any number of Western nations where 40% of the children are raised with only one parent.
Right.
At the extremes, compared to Asian countries, at the extremes, Iceland, it's 2 out of 3 children are raised in single parent homes. In South Korea, it's 1 out of 66.
Wow. Wow.
Ain't that about some shit? Anybody watching back there, hit the link and come up here and chop it up with your boy. Yeah, let's talk about this. And by the way, this is my Instagram for those of y'all interested in it. And here's my hold on a minute. Here's my Cash App. Donate to your boy to keep this stuff going. I appreciate each and every contribution. All right, now back to this video, and like I said, anybody back there listening, hit the link hit the link, and let's talk about this. Again, today's topic is single mothers are a detriment to our society. Let's continue. Fair use.
And so that's the welfare state?
Yes,
it is.
Oh, you're paying. You're creating a situation where if the first of all, you're creating a situation where if the man stays there, the government will not give the woman welfare, and if he leaves, it will. And so they're paying. When you pay people not to get married, more people don't get married.
Quote. That's a good point. Again, you're paying women to be single mothers. Bottom line. Now, this says Black Americans, a group often identified as beneficiaries of welfare state America, made considerable economic progress in the 20th century. Okay.
Black Americans, a group often identified as beneficiaries of the welfare state in America, made considerable economic progress in the 20th century. Fine, of course, but much, if not most. This is the thing with you. The dependent clause is where the sting is. But much, if not most, of this progress was prior to the massive expansion of the American welfare.
Much, if not most of this progress was prior to or before the expansion of American welfare. So yeah, we were doing pretty good up until this welfare stuff got started. Up until women were given less of an incentive to stay in marriages or stay with the father of their kids. So I guess it's safe to say it's gone downhill from there. But anyways, fair use.
State, close quote. That is so I want to say counterintuitive because we hear so much about African-American progress and civil rights and the establishment of the welfare state that it really has become a kind of American intuition. Explain yourself, Dr. Saul.
Well, as of 1940, 87% of Black households were in poverty. Over the next 20 years, that declined to 47%. This is
okay. Hold on. Got a damn ad. Hold on a minute. Okay, and we're back. Once again, fair use.
This is all prior to the civil rights laws, prior to the social welfare policies of the Johnson administration. Over the next 20 years, it fell an additional 18 points. But that was not, that was just the same trend continuing at a reduced rate. Affirmative action is even worse because, as I remember, I'm trying to think now, the numbers. I think it was something like poverty rate was something like 30% among Black households before affirmative action. And a decade after affirmative action, it was 29%.
So it went down, in other words. Okay. Thanks to affirmative action. Okay. Okay, Nightbot, stop back at the food, okay? Shout out to Dating Support and Marriage. Shout out to Lady Di and Sir James for stopping by. Appreciate that. Again, if either one of y'all or both y'all want to come up, hey, link is in the description below. And Nightbot, quit acting a fool. Wow. Okay. Here we go. Fair use.
This is not the same as the 40% decline that occurred before there were any civil rights laws and before there was any social welfare state.
And so what happened between 1940 and 1960 was the post-Second World War economic boom.
It was but it was also the massive migration of Blacks out of the South.
So they're getting better education and jobs.
That's right.
Okay. Now, you mentioned cultural and social retrogressions. Again, I'm quoting you. Arguably, the most consequential of these was the decline in two-parent families.
Wow.
Explain that one.
The decline in two-parent households. Wow. Let's hear what he has to say.
African Americans.
Yes.
We're still talking about African Americans.
Well, yeah, when they talk about things like this, they talk about the legacy of slavery.
Right.
And I argue, well, empirically, it's not that, it's the legacy of the welfare state. Because as of 1960, which is almost 100 years after slavery ended, the majority of Black kids were being raised in two-parent households. But within one generation after the welfare state, that had dropped down to a minority. So that the majority of Black kids today are raised in one-parent households. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery, generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the Black family. But one generation of the welfare state did.
Ain't that about some shit? So it wasn't the Jim Crow or the slavery that destroyed this community. How ironic. The very thing that kept them shackled to the ground and stripped them of their free will is the very same thing that kept them together all this time. So 100 years after slavery ended, there were more Black kids being raised in two-parent households. But fast forward to the 60s when all this welfare was introduced, that number dropped. Now you got more kids being raised in two-parent and single-parent households. So it seems kind of ironic during slave times, we have more two-parent households than we do in more recent, in the last few decades. So thanks in part to the government, we have way less two-parent households now. But before all of that, we had way more two-parent households. At least that's what I'm taking from this. What do y'all think in the comments? How does that sound? How does that sound to y'all? During slavery, it kept the families together via a two-parent household, but thanks to the welfare programs by the government, it tore the families apart, most if not all of them. How does that sound to y'all? Oh my God. But anyways, fair use.
The Moynihan Report, what was it? A Call for National Action.
Yes.
The Negro Family, A Call for National Action, 1965, and
right.
50 years ago. And his principal point of alarm, and again, now I'm trying to recall the statistics, but I believe the out-of-wedlock birth rate among African Americans in 1965 was 25%.
Something like that, yeah.
And he was so alarmed that he wrote this report, and today it's over 70%. And by the way, the rate among whites is over 1/3 at this stage.
Yes.
So how does the family breakdown fit into an economic understanding? Is it something, the social breakdown of the American family is something that we have to understand aside from the tools of economics? It just doesn't fit into supply and demand.
Certainly this occurred at a time when the Black income was rising. And so we're saying that previous generations of Blacks with lower income and more racial barriers the family stuck together under those conditions. And under the new conditions, which were advertised to make great progress, in fact created retrogressions. And I think many people who were gung-ho for the idea that this was going to be progress simply cannot bring themselves to look at the evidence and say, my God, we made things worse.
Wow. So yeah, the welfare programs made things worse. The welfare programs just simply made things worse. Give women less of an incentive to stay in two-parent households and raise kids by themselves. They know that the government is going to be there for them. And like we said in the previous video, you got to judge a policy by its results, not its fucking intentions. Your intentions may be good, but the end results are horrible. What good is it? What good is what you're doing? Then what's the purpose of what you're doing? That's what you got to think about in this kind of situation. But anyways, fair use.
Economic facts and fallacies. A fallacy is that the current fatherless families so prevalent among contemporary blacks are a legacy of slavery, where families were not recognized under slavery. This ignores the fact that the problem has become much worse among generations of blacks far removed from slavery than among generations closer to the era of slavery.
Hold on, say that again.
Fallacy is that the current fatherless families so prevalent among contemporary blacks are a legacy of slavery, where families were not recognized under slavery. This ignores the fact that the problem has become much worse among generations of blacks far removed from slavery than among generations closer to the era of slavery.
So damn. So that's what I'm getting out of this. Families were much closer together during slavery than they are post-slavery. We were basically bonded together thanks in part to slavery. That's the message I'm getting out of this. Things were better, but post-slavery, when all this government stuff was, government assistance program got started, that's when it fucked everything up. So how ironic. So everybody talking about, oh, we're not slaves anymore. I am not your slave. Well, from what I understand, when slavery was still prevalent, when slavery was still prevalent, there were way more kids in two-parent households than it was post-slavery. That's my understanding of it. We had way more two-parent households during that time, as opposed to what's been going on in the last few decades or so. I find that kind of hard to believe. Now, you could argue that in slavery times, you had no choice but to stick together. You had no choice but to come together. You had no choice but to do this for your own survival. Now they're free from those shackles. But look what that freedom is doing. It's tearing our community apart because of the few knuckleheads that want to take advantage of the system. But like any typical system, you will always have the people out there that's going to take advantage of it. Yeah, that happens. But anyways, fair use.
Well, explain that.
You mean explain why it is so, or
yes? Why is that? Why? What on earth is going on there? That is so counter to what we assume.
Well, first of all, the people, most people have not recognized the fact that if you go back into the 20s, you find that married couple families were much more prevalent among blacks then than today.
So in the 1920s, we had way more married couples and possibly two-parent households back then. Ain't that about something? Yeah.
You find also, incidentally, that the blacks had, as late as 1930, blacks had lower unemployment rates than whites. So all these things that we complain about and attribute to the era of slavery, those things should have been worse in the past than in the present.
Right.
But in fact, they're worse in the present than in the past.
Right. Ain't that about some shit? So yeah, families were more bound together during slavery, way more so then than they are post-slavery, thanks in part to government assistance programs of the 1960s. I find that hard to believe, but okay, it is what it is.
And I think if you want to look for a turning point, it would be since the 1960s.
And what happened in the 1960s?
Oh, you began to have not only the welfare state, you began to have the mindset that goes with the welfare state, so that there was no stigma any longer attached, for example, to being on relief or welfare.
And so,
yeah, there was a time where if you was on food stamps or some government assistance, you would be judged. Now, granted, as a man's been on food stamps myself, I don't have a problem with it. You do what you have to do but just don't rely on government assistance, you know? I was on food stamps for a whole year when I got out of basic training and just joined the military. But a year later, I got me an actual job, so I didn't need that shit anymore. But you got some people out here that are just gonna live off of welfare, live off government assistance. We don't need that. So I can't even get mad at the system. Instead, get mad at the people who take advantage of this system. Like any typical system out there, you gotta look at the dumbasses out there who abuse it and make it look bad for the people who really can benefit from it. Bottom line. But anyways, fair use.
But why? Well, illegitimacy is exploding now among, it's high among Hispanics,
Yes.
and it's exploding among whites. But the Moynihan report, when was that, Tom?
Oh, in the 60s. Well, 65.
When Moynihan talked about the illegitimacy rate among blacks, which was exploding then. So what if the welfare state changes the way Americans think?
Yes.
Why did black Americans prove susceptible to that change first?
Because they were poor. I don't think that many Asian American girls who are preparing to go off to Stanford or Harvard are going to say, hey, well, I can live on welfare. Why should I abstain?
Nothing so turns the tables on critics of social pathology in the black community as invoking the painful history of slavery. But because slavery has left bitter legacies, it does not follow that any particular bitter experience among blacks today can automatically be attributed to slavery. Cancer is indeed fatal, but every fatality cannot be attributed to cancer, and certainly not after an autopsy has shown death to be due to a heart attack or gunshot wounds. One of the key misfortunes within the contemporary black community, from which many other misfortunes flow, is the breakdown of the family, or the failure to form a family in the first place. As of 1992, more than half of all black adults had never been married, quite aside from an additional 16% who had been either divorced or widowed. By contrast, only 21% of white adults had never been married. More than half of all black children, 57%, were living with only one parent, and another 7.5% were not living with either parent.
Wow, those numbers are ridiculous. So you can really see how it's all changed. It started to go downhill as the decades rolled on. Ain't that about something? But anyways, fair use.
Thus, only a little more than a third of black children were living in traditional two-parent households. The great majority of those black children who were living with only one parent were living with their mothers, and more than half of these mothers were unmarried.
Yep, there you go. Single mothers, single unmarried mothers. Didn't marry the father for whatever reason. That's what was going on back then. But anyways, fair use.
The all too common and all too tragic situation was the teenage mother, children having children.
Yeah, having kids at fucking 15, 16 years old. God damn. I mean, that was pretty prevalent back in the 90s. I mean, for those of us who grew up in the 90s as teenagers, I was in middle school during the 90s. But if y'all were like in high school, maybe even college, you knew how young girls were having kids as young as 15, 16 years old. That's really nothing new. That's been going on for as long as I can remember. But I think it's just gotten worse over time. But now, thanks to social media, I think less and less people are having sex now because we rather just try to formulate this dream partner in our mind based on what we see on social media, thus pulling us even further apart. So if the welfare didn't, so the welfare, so it's bad enough we had welfare that gave women less of an incentive to stay in marriages and be with the father of their children. But now social media is giving people as a whole less of an incentive to even connect and interact with each other. We rather be on our phones than to be interacting with other people. So I guess people thought the welfare system or the system didn't do enough damage. So now they created the mess called social media. So you can all see how this connects. The welfare tore it apart, and social media just added to the bullshit. Anyways, fair use.
Of 190,000 black children whose parents were currently still teenagers, only 5,000 were living with both parents.
Wow.
This, of course, does not include all those children whose mothers were teenagers when they were born, but whose mothers were 20 years old or older at the time the Census Bureau collected the statistics. In short, it underestimates the extent of teenage motherhood and the consequences that continue long after the mother has reached 20 years of age. Children having children is a deadly situation. Whether
You're damn right it is.
from the standpoint of physical health, babies born to teenage mothers being prone to more medical disabilities, or from the standpoint of the inability or unwillingness of teenage mothers to raise those children with the knowledge, skills, and values necessary for them to become productive and law-abiding adults.
And this is why I believe schools need to have more sex education classes to teach them the dangers of having sex if not done correctly. So yeah, we need more of those programs. Or how about those programs where you had those little group projects where the kids will pair up, the boys and the girls will pair up with each other and some sort of, and cosplaying as husband and wife, a marriage project. Yeah, I remember back in high school, maybe in high school, maybe in middle school, where they had to pretend to be husband and wife and take care of a baby, usually a flower in a diaper, just to test your ability to be good parents. Then you learn just like that, taking care of a child is not easy. Just like that, you learn being a mother or a father is not easy. Best to hold out on that until you're old enough and mature enough to understand the responsibility that comes with taking care of a child. That's the whole purpose of those projects and experiments. Maybe we need to go back to that if they're not still doing it today. But anyways, fair use.
Since many of these teenage girls are high school dropouts and are otherwise lacking in the discipline, knowledge, and maturity necessary to raise a child, they can hardly be expected to give the child what they themselves do not have. The tragedy of the situation is too obvious to require elaboration. As in other areas where violations of societal norms have led to disasters, the first order of business for the anointed has been to turn the tables on society, which must itself be made to feel guilty for what it complains of. Blaming a legacy of slavery for the high levels of unwed teenage pregnancy among blacks and the abdication of responsibility by the fathers of the children clearly performs that function. Whether it is...
Yep, blaming slavery, going back to slavery. And again, it's ironic that we were more bound together and unified back in the slave days than we have been for the last few decades. Ain't that about some shit? But anyways, fair use.
Actually true is another question, and one receiving remarkably little attention. Going back 100 years, when blacks were just one generation out of slavery, we find that the census data of that era showed that a slightly higher percentage of black adults had married than had white adults. This, in fact, remained true in every census from 1890 to 1940.
Wow.
Prior to 1890, this question was not included in the census, but historical records and contemporary observations of the Reconstruction era depicted desperate efforts of freed black men and women to find their lost mates, children, and other family members, efforts continuing on for years and even decades after the Civil War. Slavery had separated people, but it had not destroyed the family feelings they had for each other.
That's deep right there. That is some deep shit right there. He said slavery didn't separate people. He said slavery did not separate. Hold on, let's watch that again.
Efforts continuing on for years and even decades after the Civil War. Slavery had separated people, but it had not destroyed the family feelings they had for each other.
Damn. So that's deep. Slavery may have separated people, but it did not destroy the need and the will to build a family with somebody. That's some deep shit right there. Slavery may have separated us, but I guess it didn't destroy the desire to have a family and unify with the opposite sex and start a family. Ain't that about something?
Much less their desire to form families after they were free. As late as 1950, 72% of all black men and 81% of black women had been married.
That's pretty high. That's a pretty damn high number back then.
But the 1960 census showed the first signs of a decline that accelerated in later years.
Marriage rates started to go down by the 1960s. Wow.
So many other social declines began in the 1960s. This new trend, beginning a century after emancipation, can hardly be explained as a legacy of slavery, and might more reasonably be explained as a legacy of the social policies promoted by the anointed, especially since similar social policies led to similarly high rates of unwed motherhood in Sweden, where neither race nor slavery could be held responsible. Looking more closely at the history of broken homes and female-headed households in the United States, we find that both have long been more prevalent among blacks than among whites, although the differences were not always as dramatic as they are today.
Yeah, that's pretty damn. That's deep right there. This is my first time looking at this video, y'all. So I'm learning from this just as much as y'all are. This is as informative to me as it is to y'all. So just bear with me on this.
The higher levels of broken homes among blacks in the past were due in part to higher mortality rates among blacks, leaving more widows and widowers, but there were also more family breakups. None of this was unique to blacks, however. The Irish went through a similar social history in 19th century American cities. But the female-headed households of an earlier era, whether among blacks or whites, were seldom headed by teenage girls. As of 1940, among black females who headed their own households, 52% were 45 years old or older. Okay. Moreover, only 14% of all black children were born to unmarried women at that time. The whole situation was radically different from what it is today. Whatever factors caused the changes, these were clearly 20th century factors, not a legacy of slavery.
That's a good point.
Let's stir the pot.
Damn.
At take 5, you stay in your car because we're faster than you think.
So damn. So I guess it's safe to say it wasn't slavery that tore our community apart, but it was the government funded program of the 20th century. I find that hard to believe that as blacks we were more bound together and more willing to forge families during slave period, a time where we had no freedom whatsoever and had to do whatever the slave masters told us to do. We were more willing to come together and forge healthy families then, but then fast forward to post-slavery days, now all that has gone down the drain as the decades rolled on. That's kind of hard to believe, but man, oh man. Ain't that about some shit? Ain't that about some shit? This is a lot to unpack here, y'all. That is a lot to unpack here. And anybody back there listening, once again, link is in the description below. You can come up here, chop it up with me about this whole thing, how single mothers are detriment to our society. And based on that video, now we know where it all started. The government funded programs had a no man in the house rule, which meant that no man could be in the house in order for her to get those benefits. Now, I get it. There are certain qualifications for getting government assistance. But just to say, oh, you're a single mom, here's your benefits. No. If I had my way, I would definitely try to raise the qualifications as far as what you need in order to get, you know, to get these welfare. For example, are you responsible with your money? Do you spend recklessly? Do you have any unpaid debts that we don't know about? Because if the answer to either one of these questions is yes, then you probably don't qualify for no government assistance or child support or whatever, because you're going to spend it recklessly. That's the bottom line. So it's probably a good idea that we try to revitalize the requirements for collecting welfare. Because so many women in our community are taking advantage of this system that it's just tearing apart the black families. And it's made women feel so, and social media is not making it any better, Sure, we got access to anything and everything via our phones or our home PCs, but we become so disconnected. And people who keep saying, well, being in a marriage is considered slavery. Being with a man is slavery. I'm not your maid. I'm not your slave. Well, need I remind you, well, as I just learned, people were more cooperative and they were more prone to wanting families during the slave day periods. So that's the irony in the whole thing. The very thing that separated us decades or centuries ago is not responsible for our separation in this current generation. Ain't that about some shit? My God. So people start pointing back to slavery and all this kind of stuff, which was a horrible time in and of itself. Now we have to understand that black families were more prevalent during that time period than they have been for the last couple of decades post-slavery. Oh my God. Oh my man. Oh man. This is a lot to unpack, y'all. I'm telling you, this is a lot to unpack. I never would have guessed it. Again, shout out to dating to marriage support for stopping by and offering your support. And Nightbot, stop acting a fool. They're cool people, okay? They want to come up, let them come up. Okay, hold on a second here. Okay, I already showed that one. And here's another video talking about reasons why men don't want to date single mothers. We already talked about where it all got started, how it all got started. Now let's talk about reason. Now let's talk about in this video, and shout out to Mr. Lego. He's going to talk about why men don't want to date single mothers. Okay, fair use.
52% of black children in America live without both parents in the household. What would you say is most responsible for this?
The choice that so many women are making to choose the government as their husband instead of a black man.
Explain.
First, of course, is a choice to have a child. That's one thing. But then it turns into somewhat of a trend or survival need, which is, yo, it's hard out here, so I need something. And then they, use the government to pay their bills. And other women look at, and this is a real thing, women literally look at other women and say, hey, girl, like, did you know if you have a baby, you can get the government assistance and all these other things? And they literally talk other women into this to say, yo, forget these men.
Okay, but
and
you're
then
wrong.
boom.
Yep, that about sums it up. The decision to have a child, come to the realization that raising a child is not easy by yourself, so you want government assistance to help you. And again, as long as there's no man in the household, you will get those benefits. That's the fucked up thing about it. And yes, they will send agents to make sure there's no man out there. So now you can rely on the government to financially support you and your child. Again, it further tore apart the black families. And I think it's strange. People talk about this as slavery. Well, during slave periods, maybe they had no choice but to come together and be a family for the sake of their own survival, because no one person can survive everything on their own. So maybe now women, maybe or perhaps black women feel like that, hey, back in the slave days, women had no choice but to go find a man and build a family so they can live longer and survive, and possibly survive longer. But now, thanks to government assistance, it's freed them from that. So now they don't need a man. They can have a child, raise it by themselves, let the government financially support them and their children. How ironic. The very thing that's responsible for separating black people is the very thing that kept them together, more or less. They gave them an incentive to come together. How about that? During slave periods, we had more black families. Sometime after slavery ended, we had more black two-parent households than we did in the last few decades. Post-slavery and post-welfare government assistance programs in the 1960s. Way more two-parent households before then. So that's something people need to come to understand. Wow. That's just something. But anyways, I'm going to get into my next video. Hopefully somebody will come up and talk about this with me. I understand people got to go to work and everything. How you think I feel when I can't chime into y'all streams because I'm at work doing my thing or whatever. But I ain't tripping. It is what it is. Everybody got their own schedule, their own time, their own whatever. I ain't tripping. Here's my Cash App. But let's get into this next video here. Okay, this one says, oh, this is what's his name? Phil Scott. This is taken from the Phil Scott Show. Shout out to Phil Scott. This video is called Single Mother Epidemic Causes Poverty, Mental Issues, and Risk of Imprisonment. Wow. Let's get into this. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use.
You know, the single parent epidemic in our community is something that I view as very destructive. Because it takes two people to raise children. Case in point, our sister here is going to break down why this is such a problem. Let's review it.
I have to say something, and I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but it needs
stop normalizing single motherhood. Okay, speak your piece. I got to hear this.
Needs to be said. Black women, we got to stop having children with men that are not committed to us.
That's a good point. I could have told you that. But anyways, fair use.
Why would you get backlash for saying that?
That's easy. The fucking sisterhood is going to come after her. They want to make it to where women are so goddamn independent, don't need a man for this, that, and the third, that now when you got women out here that don't approve of this damn message of normalizing single motherhood and baby mama culture, they're going to come for her ass. So yes, you're going to get some backlash. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
There's nothing disrespectful by saying that
at
all. Why would you have child with a man who don't respect you? Who don't honor you? He don't even honor his own seed. Why is that wrong? But it lets you know how backwards some people are in our community. Now, I get messages from people, you know, telling me, well, why are you talking about black people, especially black women? You don't talk about other groups. You're lying, for one. Two, you don't research. If you actually went through my content enough, you would see I talk.
Because it's more prevalent in our community. Other communities got these issues, yes, but it's more prevalent in our community.
But anybody can get it here. It doesn't matter to me. But when it comes to issues in our community, I'm a black man. I can talk about it.
So am I.
Whether you want a white person or a Hispanic person or anybody else sitting up here on this microphone talking about you, then you would get mad and say they're being racist towards you. So which one is it? They're going to be racist towards you for talking about our issues, or it's a problem on top of us. The issue why we don't get nowhere as a community is that you're hard-headed. You won't listen to a black man tell you anything, and you won't listen to a black woman so much so that she fears backlash for telling you the God's honest truth. Let's continue.
Okay. And before y'all start with the, oh, Medusa, you got married and now you think you're better than us, stop it. Because I've been preaching this prior to me even getting married.
Even before she got married, she was against this bullshit. So that lets you know her head was on straight before she got married. Talking about you're better than us because you got a husband. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. She was a wife not because her husband found her. She was a wife, but she was a wife before he found her. Bottom line, point and simple. Fair use, fair use.
In that comment, you think you're better because you're married. Let's call it what it is. Some people are better than others in life. Yeah, that's a reality.
True that.
Some people are better. Some people are faster. Some people are smarter. I know that. There are people that's way better than me in a whole lot of things. and that's okay. As long as I be the best me, that's all I got to be.
Not to mention the fact that some people are better at maintaining healthy relationships than others. You got to consider that as well. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to compete with them. Of course, it's competition in capitalism, of course, and I cannot be everything. But you know what? I may not be the best at something, but I sure can hire someone who's the best, and now it makes me look good. See, that's the key when you don't have something, right? So the issue is this. She qualified to get married, and the people who's telling her that cannot qualify. But once again, she feels she's going to be attacked for being married, which is a normal thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you're doing things right, you're going to catch backlash from, you're going to have the haters out there. Don't get me wrong. But to hate on a woman who not only is married, but she's against this modern day independent boss chick culture, and she doesn't subscribe to that, that's just BS to me. Whatever happened to the good old days, just letting people do what's best for them and leave them the fuck alone. You don't want to be an independent boss chick. That's you. You want to be a married traditional woman? That's you. But we're so quick to shame men who speak on traditionalism, and we'll shame women like her who speak on traditionalism. So yeah, it's crazy out there. The hate has gotten so out of control that we just don't know how to let people just be what they want to be and be who they want to be. Anyways, fair use.
Women getting married for millions of years, and yet just because she's saying what's right, you're going to use because she's married against her. That's backwards.
Let's hear this.
Talking to the Krayshawn Rocks of the world, okay? The ones who have children with men who have absolutely no intentions of being involved in their children's
Krayshawn Rock, messing with Blueface monkey ass. Yep, I remember him.
Like at all, and make it very clear from the jump. All right. I just finished watching Krayshawn and Blueface ghetto ass show on Zeus. You got Krayshawn's drug addicted mother in the background over here pressuring her into being a single mother. Then you got her mom, her cousins, and her sisters pretty much saying the same thing. But see, they don't see nothing wrong with it because the hell, they're single mothers too. This is literally all they know. This is the norm for them. This shit has been normalized for them. That's the fuck.
And that's the thing. A daughter brought up in a household with a single mother. Yep. But you know what they say? The apple don't fall far from the tree. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of these young girls who are brought up in single parent households don't know what it's like to be around a respectable father figure and know what masculinity truly is. So yeah, they're used to this. It's normal for them. But anyways, fair use.
Fucking problem. I'm here to tell you that being a single mother is not fucking normal. Raising a child on your own is not normal. You didn't create the child on your own, so you shouldn't have to raise the child on your own.
Preach, my sister. Preach, 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 preach.
No, your mama did it, and your mama's mama did it, so now you think that you should do it, and it's not the case. And I wish that somebody would step up and shake some goddamn sense into these women and let them know what the tea is. I'm tired of this shit. But if you don't believe me, look at the facts. Children born to unmarried women have a higher increase in infant mortality. Our marital status negatively affects Black women, and it does not affect white women the same. And this is not by coincidence. This is solely by design. Single parents are most likely to be female and Black. And most Black single women are at a 30% increase of living in poverty, okay? Black women.
Oh, damn, these ads. Okay, folks, give me a second. Okay, we're back. Let's continue with the video. Once again, fair use, fair use.
In the same. And this is not by coincidence. This is solely by design. Single parents are most likely to be female and Black. And most Black single women are at a 30% increase of living in poverty, okay? Black women who have children out of wedlock are at an 85% increase of being single parents and raising the child on their own by the time the child is 2.
Wow. By the time the child is 2, you're bound to be a single mother. So goddamn. That's fucked up right there. I'm not too big on these numbers, or I'm not too good at keeping up with these goddamn numbers. So I'm going by what I'm seeing, not so much what I'm hearing. But it is what it is. Damn. That was in 1968. Here it is in 2017. Wow. Okay. Unmarried parents are cohabiting. Wow. Look at that. But anyways, fair use.
This is not by coincidence. This is by design. And I don't even think I need to touch on the psychological trauma and abandonment issues that come with you only having one parent in your life. Like, come on. We always talking about breaking generational curses and building generational wealth. Well, newsflash, most wealthy people are married.
That's a good point. Most wealthy people are married. A husband and a wife coming together to put their sources of income together. That's a very good point. So it makes sense to shack up with a good man and for a man to shack up with a good woman. That's the only way that's going to work. You can't choose trash people, commit to trash people, and expect positive results. You're going to get trash results for choosing trash people. Bottom line, point blank. But anyways, fair use.
Boom, just like that. Yes, they are. You look at all the billionaires and they're married. You cannot build generational wealth with a generational curse mindset.
Exactly. Look at those married men and women building wealth together. And they have kids. It's probably a father and a mother dynamic. Talk about breaking a generational curse. Well, then come out the mindset that started that generational curse in the first place. Plain and simple.
Now, she's talking about Krayshawn's family, saying it's okay to be a single mother. And you look at those women's lives. They're not successful either. They riding Krayshawn's coattail, being on Krayshawn's show because of her connection to Blue.
Wow, ain't that some shit, Krayshawn? the girl messed with Blueface. Oh, shout out to Killer Swag. Get that bag. He don't care about price, Taz. Glad you could stop by, homie. Glad you could stop by. I know you're probably at work, but first chance you get, if you have an opportunity, feel free to chop it up with me. Today's topic, but as you probably saw in the title, single mother culture is a detriment to our society. I'd love to hear your take on that. So you're not busy? Come up and chop it up with your boy. Until then, fair use, fair use.
Blueface. Now, Blueface is not some upstanding guy. I would say, hey, that's the kind of guy you need to be with.
No.
You know what I'm saying? No. But women have way more to lose becoming a single mother than a man in society. Even though you may get a lot more help than other countries, you will. Here in America, you will. Single mothers in other countries, they better think. They always got to think before they have that baby, because they're not going to get no welfare, food stamps. They're not going to get no housing. They're not going to get anything. You're on your own. You had that baby, deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So don't think and we say it this time and time again, you can't go overseas with the same Americanized modern day mindset. What you can get away with out here in America, you know damn well you can get away with that bullshit in other countries. So yeah. You have to understand that, because we all know that other cultures don't take too kindly to baby mama culture. Hell, other countries and communities don't take too kindly to sexual irresponsibility or fornication of any kind. You know, in some countries, they can punish a daughter and a son for fornicating with someone that they're not trying to marry. They don't play that shit in other countries. But here in America, we can get away with that shit all day as long as we're responsible. So, yeah. Okay, so what I say, yeah, I'm at the job right now, but what up, though? Nothing much, doing my show as usual. I'm going to keep this shit going no matter what. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
I'm saying they don't get no child support. In this country, you live in luxury. This is why some people in other countries hear you complaining about your life and they just get sick of you, because you literally live in luxury. Even when you,
I can't even say it's the luxury. It's what you had to do to get said luxury. It wasn't earned. You shacked up with you got with a man, had his baby, y'all separated, or you threw him out the house or pushed him out the house or whatever. And now you got the government taking care of your happy ass. That's not what they support in other countries, as I said earlier. But anyways, fair use.
You screw up, you still get people bailing you out of it, right? But even if you're getting bailed out of your problem to a point, it's still not enough. It's not. Even if you're getting child support, it's still not enough, because that child needs a father.
Correct.
That child didn't get here without a mom and daddy, and that child need a mom and daddy to raise it. Listen, I'm a man. I would not want to raise my 9-year-old by myself as a man. I need my wife.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot of things that I don't know about women and all that, or certain things.
Now, I know I've mentioned earlier that sometimes single father households are basically the lesser of the two compared to a single mother household, but nonetheless, my bad, y'all. I tuned myself out the stream. Ain't that about something? But like I said, even though single father households are the lesser of the two, I still don't recommend a father try to raise kids by himself. Yes, he can promote order, law, order, and structure, but at the same time, I'm not gonna tell no man, hey, you're a good man. You can raise some kids by yourself. You don't need a wife or a girlfriend. You can do it all by yourself. I'm not going to advocate for that, honestly. I just can't. Even though he could do a better job at it, maybe compared to a single mother, I'm not going to advocate for a household run strictly by a father. I'd rather be a mother and a father. But hey, our world ain't perfect. People do what they want to do regardless. That's just the way the world is. It's just crazy and cruel. But yeah, this man just said it. He wants to raise his kids alongside his wife and doesn't want to do it by himself, the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. But anyways, back to this video. Again, ladies and gentlemen, fair use. Shout out to Phil Scott for this content. Fair use, fair use.
I know a little bit more now, of course, at my age, but I still don't know how it is to be a woman. So how would I could even raise my 9-year-old alone? I would never want to do that. Or vice versa. You have a woman raising children alone. There's times, for instance, let's say if my wife didn't have me around, there's certain things that she just come to me and say, hey, this going on, that's going on. Oh, this issue, that issue. Hey, can we do this? Or are you going to do that? She don't have to worry about any of that. Versus, let's say if I wasn't around, then she would have to worry about all that, worry about the kids, worry about everything by herself. Couldn't prioritize her health, couldn't prioritize anything because you're so consumed with everything. You cannot live a soft life without a man.
Exactly. In fact, that man is the reason you should be having a soft life. He's the reason why you should be in your soft, feminine, friendly mindset. A good man is going to allow you to stay in your femininity. That way he can handle all the masculine tasks, a task that requires a masculine touch. That's how that works. You can't live a soft life raising children by your goddamn self. And I'm not going to put that on anyone. I'm not going to say men are better parents than women or women are better parents than men. Neither is better than the other. If they're trying to do it all by themselves, don't get me wrong. I mean, a single father household will probably be the lesser of the two, but I'm not going to advocate and say, oh, we should have more single father households. I believe fathers, as in the responsible fathers, need to step up and take care of their own kids. And not only that, be responsible enough to pick a woman that they know is going to be a respectable and responsible mom. So yeah, the accountability is on both men and women to raise decent kids. No one person should be doing it by themselves. It can be done, but I recommend you don't try it. That's all I'm saying. I just recommend that you don't try it. Anyways, fair use, fair use.
Ladies, don't deceive yourself. Oh, I work and pay for my own. No. The true way to live a soft life is have a loving husband. Or is your husband going to be perfect? No.
But then again, who is?
We are not perfect as men, and women aren't perfect either. But you know what? If you got a husband or you got a wife, keep your relationship together, work on your relationship. There's some deficiencies, whatever, work on it. because there's nothing in these streets. These people telling you that the dating market and the dating pool has sewage in it. Everybody's telling you. So stay with your wife, stay with your husband. Trust me.
Exactly. The dating pool is not what it once was 25, 30 years ago. Anytime after social media, the dating market started to change. And as I said earlier, it was the 1960s government programs that they gave women less incentives to stay married or stay with the father of their kids. But social media has not made things any better as far as the dating market is concerned. It's further tearing us apart. It's just further separating us and giving us less reasons to feel like we need to be in a relationship with the opposite sex. It's crazy. But anyway, it's fair use.
It's better that way. You need two parents to raise these kids. And she's right. She didn't even get into the aspect of the children. Do you know children have a higher propensity to be incarcerated growing up in a single parent household?
Exactly. They either in prison, on the streets, or worse, deleted and put 6 feet under in a fucking casket. So yeah, you got to consider that. Now, granted, I came from a single mom household myself, but that's because my father passed away 33 years ago of health complications. So she's a single mom by force. So people who are single mom, women who are single moms by force are not as bad as single mothers by choice, but it's still recommended that you don't try to raise a child by yourself. And my mama had help. My cousins, male and female, uncles and aunts, they all stepped in to look after me, make sure I didn't get into any trouble. And I had enough positive influences to where I didn't have enough to where the negative influences of the world didn't really come my way. They barely came my way. So yeah, single parents by force are not the same, but they want to make it seem like they should all be looked at in the same light, you know? But yeah, a majority of kids who come from single parent households more than likely end up in prison, on the streets, or deleted and put 6 feet under. Bottom line. Fair use?
I've talked to people who have been incarcerated. And you know what they told me?
What?
About 90+% of them grew up in single parent households with a single mother.
Uh-huh. I'm not surprised.
It's like a classic.
I'm not surprised. I'm not the slightest bit surprised by that, because that's usually how it is. As I said, most of them come from single parent households. There was no father around to teach them morals and common decency. I mean, the mom can do that too, but they need a what they call a masculine role model to kind of instill it in them. And without that masculine role model, it just wasn't gonna work. They need that masculine man, that masculine male figure to enforce law, order, and authority. But they don't have that, and that's where they ended up. But hold on, we got to add, so give me a minute.
And you know what they told me? About 90+% of them grew up in single parent households with a single mother.
Wow.
Not too many were in there that grew up with a father in the household. And we're talking about our community. We're not talking about others. We're talking about ours. So since we know that we can literally cut down the incarceration rate of our children, especially our black boys that grew up into black men, by 90%, it's imperative that we have a mother and a father. And let's say for some reason the relationship did not work out. If that man's a good man and it just not work out, you ain't got to chase him down to be with his son or his daughter.
Exactly. He should want to be there for his children or child or whatever. They should already have the agreement that, hey, even though we're not going to work out, we're not going to tear apart our family and throw our kids into a chaotic world without giving the proper teachers that they need to survive. So you still gonna play your part as a father, and I'm gonna play my part, and he gonna still play his part as a father, and she gonna still be the mother. They should have that kind of. They should already have that kind of agreement if they're truly good parents. That is. But anyways, fair use.
he will be there. You ain't got to chase him down for child support. I say you should not even be doing child support.
Yeah, and the funny thing about child support, that's the first thing that comes to women's minds when things don't work out with a man. Child support. And you know what? They need to crack down on that child support stuff. They already got a debit card to where you can only use the card for stuff for the child. So that's a good way to crack down on it. But they need to set up to where they need to up the standard as far as who qualifies for child support. Again, are you spending your money wisely? You have any unpaid debts, delinquencies we don't know about? If so, you don't qualify for no child support because you're just going to blow through the damn money. You're just going to blow right through the damn money. Swag, who said dating and marriage got timed out? I didn't do that. I think my Nightbot did that. Nightbot, what the hell, man? Oh my God. I had no idea that they got timed out. Damn. Lady Dash, Sir James, if y'all listening back there, my bad. If y'all can hear this stream, my bad. I had no idea y'all got timed out. Yeah, my Nightbot did that. So Lady Dash, Sir James, if y'all see this live stream, just know I did not time y'all out. My stupid ass Nightbot did that. Oh God. This is ridiculous. Now I gotta put the Nightbot in fucking timeout. Ain't that some shit? Hopefully they'll come back. Oh, only 5 seconds. By the way, how can you tell who's been timed out and who's not? I didn't do that. I don't know. But yeah, I put that Nightbot in timeout. But anyways, oh man, my bad, Sir James and Lady Di. Don't be mad at me when I come to y'all stream next week. Please don't be mad at me. I had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. Oh, you can see it in the chat. Okay, okay. Wow. I wasn't trying to do that. I swear I was not trying to do that. I hope they come back up here. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
Child support should be if you don't do nothing at all. You're not trying to see the child. You're not trying to help with anything. Because if it's truly child support, let's say if it was me, I'll be like this. Okay, hey, they gonna need this X, Y, Z. I pay so much, you pay so much, or whatever. If you don't put a man on child support, he's willing to give you a lot more. Come on, how many men feel that way? You're willing to give her a lot more instead of child support. But the moment you put that man on child support, that's the moment he's gonna say, I'm only following that. You could have got a $10.
Yeah, he could have been open to negotiating with you if you don't put him on child support. That's a good possibility if he's a good man. If you don't put this man on child support, maybe he's open to negotiations. I don't know, but fair use.
$1,000 more out of him. But since you said this, I'm gonna give you $500. I'm telling you, that's how most men are. Because you're really putting the state on him. You didn't put this, y'all didn't, the state.
Yeah, when y'all get the state involved, that's when it becomes a problem.
Wasn't involved when y'all made that baby, so why you need the state to rear it? And the state does not look out for that child. That best interest of the child, that's a lie. The so-called best interest of the child, they send children with women who's no good, got all kind of predators and all that stuff. Then something happens to that child. How many times have men have been in court talking about, I don't want my child around there. There's nothing they can really do about it to actually do something to the child, right?
Right.
So don't give me that best interest of the child crap. That's a freaking lie. But most men were not even, now we talking about good men. If you was with a good man, but it just didn't work out, you ain't got to put him on child support. You ain't got to chase him. He always going to stay gainfully employed. He always going to be there for his child. And I've met a few women out there, a few. They have said, nah, I don't do no child support. I just tell him, hey, he can pay for this, he pay for that. He do it. I never have an issue with him. And I always say those women right there, it's the best women ever.
You're damn right they are. They rather work the problems out than to have to. They rather just work it out than have to get the state involved. That's something I want to see more of, but it is what it is. And like I said, dating, marriages, and support, dating to marriage and support. I apologize. I did not. My nightbot did that, not me. Yes, it's only 5 seconds, but still, oh boy. It's only for 5 seconds. Oh boy. Now I gotta put my nightbot in timeout, but it is what it is. Okay. Anyways, fair use. The best.
Because fellas, at the same time, make sure you pick the right woman too. Because she's a good woman, she's a decent woman, she's a moral woman, but some reason it didn't work out. She's not trying to harm you. She just wants you to just do what you're supposed to do. And that's it.
Right.
But children suffer in single parent household. They don't get as high education as they do in a 2-parent household because you have the balance. You know, they say, what they say, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
You got that. The mom has her place and the dad has his. And coming together is perfect. God didn't make us to create children to be raised them by themselves.
No,
a mother and father has to be there, and we got to get back to that.
We need to go back to that. Seriously, we need to go back to that.
It saddens me to see children growing up with a single mother. It saddens me to see that. Children should not be coming into the world until they are through a marriage. And I understand marriages break apart. I understand that happens. Unfortunately, it happens. I wish everybody's marriage can work out. Even Jeezy, I wish him and Jenny Mai worked themselves out. I don't want to see that little baby raised with a single mother without Jeezy around. Okay, I'll tell you from experience. You can be the best dad ever, getting your child much as possible. It's still not the same like living with them every day. If they call you 2 o'clock in the morning because they scared or something or whatever, you would never get that picking them up once or every other week. Every week you can pick them up.
Yeah, it's certainly not the same thing. No, only getting them a couple weeks, only getting them ever so often. No, it's not going to have the same parenting experience. Not going to have the same parenting effect either.
You still won't get that. You're going to miss out on a lot because you're not there. And it's depressing to go from when you're there to when you're not there. That's very depressing. So that's what even Jeezy is not even going to realize. That's why I said, I wish Jeezy and her work their issues out. I don't like divorce. I'm telling you, I don't like it. It's not a good thing. You understand what I'm saying? I hope they work it out. But let's continue with what this sister had to say.
Supposed to build generational wealth with no form of stability. Like, come on, y'all. It's time for us to put on our thinking caps. Stop going against the grain. And let me be clear, this is not an attack on single mothers. This is, however, an attack on y'all normalizing and glamorizing single motherhood for Black women. Because in actuality, when you really break it down and look at the statistics, all you're doing is normalizing and glamorizing and fetishizing poverty. Because that's really all we have to look forward to. We are literally fetishizing poverty. It's like almost like some of us have like a fucking poverty cake, and it's beyond problematic.
Preach, my sister, preach. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Again, the link is right there if anybody want to come up and talk about this with me. Anyways, fair use.
To stop that, I just want to point out that we are statistically putting our children at a disadvantage when we make these decisions. So with that being said, Black women, we got to have higher standards for the men that we choose to have children with.
I could have told you that. But here's a funny thing about it. They don't have much of a standard as far as the minute they choose to have kids by. But after the child is born and that man steps out, now they want to set standards for the next guy and the next guy and the next guy in hopes that they eventually get picked. It's called being a pick-me gone wrong. They'll switch on the pick-me. They'll switch on that pick-me mindset when it comes to looking for a man after the guy that they had no standards for dips on their ass. That's crazy.
And to my older Black women, like Krayshawn's mom and them, stop encouraging the youth to be single mothers just because you did it. Well, I did it, so you can do it. You shouldn't have had to do it.
And listen what you're saying. I'm not trying to attack. Telling the truth is not an attack. Okay? It's not an attack.
But you know the truth hurts. Anything that hurts is perceived as an attack, plain and simple. Anything that hurts you or makes you feel some kind of way, they're going to look at it as an attack. And I give props to this sister for holding women accountable. I give props to her for holding black women accountable. Love it. I love it. I love it. Continue, please.
Is you telling the truth because you care. Let me tell you something. I always tell people this. When somebody don't tell you anything, like a person just was preaching to you, and then they got to the point they don't say nothing to you, then either they done with you or they just don't care. I'd rather someone talk to me than just whatever like that, right? Because she has no reason to be talking to y'all. But what she wants is she wants y'all, the single mothers, to have what she has. So that's why she's talking to y'all. But you would demon. But see, you have to understand, we live in Babylon. What's evil is good. What's wrong is right. You understand?
Right.
And because of that, speaking a message of truth, righteousness, justice, you got to understand that you're wrong. They have normalized single motherhood. They have normalized deadbeat dads. They have
normalized deadbeat dads. I don't know about that. Who's going to normalize a man being a deadbeat dad? I don't know about that. Maybe they normalize calling men deadbeat dads, but I can't say they normalize it like, hey, hooray for deadbeat dads. Hooray for deadbeat dads all over the world. In the same vein that they're being like, hooray for single mothers, hooray for baby mama culture. No, I don't know about all that, sir, but it is what it is. But fair use.
Normalized living on the system. That's have been normalized. See, now I'm gonna go political just for a minute. You couldn't give me no kind of political power because the first thing I would do is I would say I want to audit all the books. I don't mind helping somebody for about 18 months. But if you're on this program past 18 months, okay, now you're making it a lifestyle. Temporary help is one thing. But a lifestyle is another. Because you have people have a career on food stamps, welfare, etc.
Exactly.
My thing is, I don't want to give you food stamps or welfare. I want to give you training. I want to give you training so you can do for yourself. Because that's just a waste of time when you don't teach somebody how to feed themselves and how to house themselves. You understand? That living on the system crap, that's why people just recklessly have children. Because, oh, well, I can just get more money on the system. That rug need to be pulled from underneath a whole lot of you, just to be honest with you. And I don't understand how some of you lay up with a man that you know is no good and get impregnated by him. Simple. They're acting on feelings and emotions. Bottom line, point is simple. That sorry, no good man, his genes will be in your child. And it is a possibility that your child could possibly take on their daddy's ways because that DNA is in them. That's why even men, you want a woman who's smart, a woman who's honorable, a woman who's caring, a woman that's nurturing, a woman that actually takes care of herself and has a good spirit about her because you want your child to be that way. But even some of you men, that some of you that even accomplished, some of you like a Chris Sean. Oh yeah, some of you do. Some of you like Sexy Red. Yes, you. I don't. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of Sexy Red. What the fuck you talking about? I'm not one of them, but okay. Some of you do. It's just not the hood dudes. They like Sexy Red and Sukihana. Some of you suit wearing dudes out here. They got a decent job. I'd probably smash her if I had the chance, but give her the penis. But I'm not committing to her, honestly. Oh, go lay up with a Sukihana. Oh yes, you would. Don't lie. I know. Yeah, trying to get that coochie stretched. How classless can one person get? I know you black men. I know you. Oh, I know you because I'm one of you. And them kind of women, no, but not at all. But some of you, yes. Oh, yes. You would lay up with that kind of woman, and then you be. If people wouldn't even figure it out, like how is that his child's mother? Like all them tattoos that girl got, lashes like bat wings, and why? I don't. And that's gonna be the daughter in the next 20 years as well. Oh, get it. He looks so clean cut. Listen, some black men don't think They may be smart in some instances and accomplished in some instances, but they like the same thing like Pookie and Ray Ray. That's why sometimes they argue with Pookie and Ray Ray about black women. Oh, I'm about to go there. Pookie and Ray Ray's not even in the category. They can't afford what these brothers can afford, right? But they want the same women Pookie and Ray Ray want. See,
that's a good point. Because some of these hardworking men, they do kind of want the same females that the hood dudes want. You would think that the best thing to do is just stay away from those kind of women, but hey. And I think one of the reasons why they go for those kind of women is because these hardworking men can see plain as day that this society is just filled with them. It's more of them and less of the traditional women. Look at this hardworking young man right here. Let's say, for example, he goes out into the world. He's working 9 to 5, building an empire. But as far as the dating world is concerned, all he sees are the sexy Reds and Suki Hanas of the world. That's all he's fucking seeing. It's all I'm not saying that that's not all that's out there, but that's all he's going to be surrounded by. That's all he's going to be seeing. Even the females who have jobs just like him and don't engage in that kind of lifestyle, they have the same fucked up ass mindsets. So yeah, sometimes you don't have to be for the streets to have a street mindset. Because even the females who don't run the streets have the same entitlement that these street women have. They have the same mindsets. They just move a little carefully compared to these loose women. So men like that have just given up and said, you know what? Forget relationships, forget marriage. I'm just going to find me a chick, have some sexual fun with her, and then keep it moving like that. Plain and simple. Use it for recreational purposes only. So that might explain why some of them pick those kind of women. It's not only is it all that they see, but they accept the fact that this is all our culture is perpetuating nowadays. But anyways, fair use.
If they was accomplished, those kind of women, the sexy Reds or the Sukihanas, would just like, I want that for. I got access to all of this over here. And I'm not saying
now you might be thinking to yourself, shouldn't these hood women avoid, those so-called boring, hardworking 9 to 5 dudes? Well, unfortunately, in some cases, those be the main ones going after the guy with the suit and the high-paying job or whatever. You would think that improving yourself mentally, physically, and financially would keep all those hood bras away from you, because they'll take a look at you and be like, no, this man's not good enough. No, I'm not good enough for him. But as we see in the past, those are the kind of men that women go for. And since this is all that's perpetuated now, we're like, we're just gonna capitalize on it. That's my only explanation for that. But anyways, fair use. Video's almost done.
Saying some men are like that, who got jobs and everything. Oh yeah, so that's why you see some of these guys, and then they want to complain about how ratchet she is and how toxic she is, and busting out the windows and keying the car. Like, she was that way before you met her, dude. You knew that, but you like that sort of thing. Yeah. Some of you black men look,
and that's why I hold men and women accountable in these old toxic ass relationships, because they know how the other was before they even got together. So yeah,
of a toxic female. Oh yes, you do. A good, straight up, classy woman don't cause you them kind of problems or anything like that. You don't like that either.
And not only that, sometimes these classy, intelligent, nicely dressed young women, they're either 1, not interested in you, 2, already in a relationship, or 3, already married, or 4, you're not interested in them. You're not attracted to them. So there's always going to be some sort of roadblock that keeps you from kind of get with the women that don't run the streets and not about that life. So what are you left to work with? Simple, the ratchets, but fair use.
Consider her boring. You like that ratchetness too, but that's a video of a different day. So I'm just kind of giving you a preview of why some of these guys dealing with some issues, and then now they can't be with them, so they make them single mothers. Oh yes, it's all over the spectrum, because Pookie and Ray Ray is always demonized, and which they should be. But some of these good job having dudes too, they're not with these women either. So let's go there. But shout out to the sister. She's 100% right. 100% right in what she's saying. Single motherhood is not the business.
No, it isn't.
If he don't give you his last name, then you don't give him a kid. That's the way that works. Protect your womb and your uterus. Protect it. If a man is...
And that's the end of the video. But yeah, shout out to that sister. She was dead on. We do need to seriously stop trying to normalize single motherhood, because it is not going to do a household any justice when you got just one parent that's trying to do every goddamn thing. No, it just ain't going to work like that. No, it isn't. Okay, since there's nobody up here right now, I'm going to keep the show going nonetheless. But right now, I'm going to take a little stream break. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, let's get into the next video. And this is a video talking about a single mother who abandons her kids just to be with her new boyfriend. I'm pretty sure some of y'all saw this video, but now we're going to have another YouTuber by the name of, let me see, hold on. Dee Willis. Not to be confused with Dee Woods, but Dee Willis. Here we're talking about, a single mother abandons her kids to be with new boyfriend. Some of y'all probably already saw this, but now let's hear what she has to say on this. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, fair use, fair use.
Mother of 3 children decided to drop her children to their grandmother because she broke up with their father and she's tired of being a single mother, and the new boyfriend that she's dating doesn't want the kids around. So she wants to go and focus on her relationship by just abandoning the kids to her mother so she can take care of them for her, as she cannot go further with taking care of those children. So you guys should watch this video. But before we do, make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and hit the notification bell to get notified every time
That's just some sad shit for you.
I post a new video. Let's get right into it.
Baby, wait, don't go in the house yet. Why not? Hey, listen. Just go sit on the porch. Hey, listen. What do you think you're doing? I'm dropping them off. Good. Listen, I met a younger guy. He don't want no kids, and he don't want to listen. He don't want to deal with them. And so I'm dropping these kids off so me and him can live our life. We want to travel. We want to explore the world. I can't do that with kids.
My God.
I can't.
I cannot believe.
It's time for me to be happy, and I just want.
I don't believe this. This woman here just wants to drop off her kids, I guess, at her mama's house because she wants to live a new lifestyle with this younger dude that she's dealing with. And by the way, did she say younger dude? I mean, y'all give us older gentlemen a lot of hell for wanting younger women, but yeah, y'all could date younger men? That's not fucking fair at all. Why must it be that way? But anyways, she wanted to abandon her kids and give them to her mom just so she can be with this young guy. Ain't that about some shit? Ain't that about something? But anyways, fair use.
To be happy and stress-free without these children. That's all I want.
Then you should ask me, baby.
I shouldn't have asked.
That's your mama. Of course you gotta ask. Ugh, man.
The grandparents.
It's respect, Angel. It's respect.
Well, I hope that you respect my decision on moving on my life with my new man and no kids.
I'm not raising your kids.
Well, I'm not either.
And there's your problem right there. You want your mama to raise, you want your mom and dad to raise your kids at their old age. Honestly, what the hell is wrong with some people? This is just ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Oh man, oh boy. This woman wants to give up her kids just so she can be with a brand new man. Now, how many women do you know do that shit for real? I can't imagine no woman doing that for me. This is why like I said earlier, if you're a single mother, I could care less if I'm a priority for you. I don't give a shit about being a priority because I don't need you to do like she's doing and abandoning your kids just so you can deal with someone like me. Seriously, I want you to put your kids first. But at the end of the day, you're not a priority for me. If I'm not dealing with you, I'm dealing with another female. So that's just something you're gonna have to learn to deal with. All this abandoning your kids just to make them just to make some dude happy, that's just not gonna cut it. No, you can't do that. But this is just crazy. This man must be really worth something to you. Must be giving you that good dick if he's getting you to abandon your kids. It's amazing what some females would do when they got feelings for the right man. Well, in this case, the wrong man, since he's condoning this kind of shit. Now, granted, I understand that this young man does not want to have kids. He doesn't want, a woman with children. Okay, first of all, don't deal with females who have kids. But then again, that's our whole fucking culture, so I can't put all the blame on him. You look around nowadays, damn near every woman, 90% of women that are in their mid to late 20s, early mid 30s have children. So good luck trying to find a woman that doesn't have children. But for him to tell her that I don't want kids, give up your kids, that's just cold. He said he don't want kids. He don't want the kids around. Okay. I tell single mothers that, hey, I like hanging out with you, but don't put the burden of responsibility of your son to me. I'm not taking care of your child. I want you to put that child first. I'm not taking care of your son. He is not my child, so I'm not obligated to do anything for him. I get that. But if this woman just wants to abandon her kids just to be with this young cat, oh my God. Let's see how this plays out. Fair use, fair use.
Well, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not doing it. I'm just letting you know right now I'm not doing it. These are your 3 kids. I'm tired of being a single parent. I'm tired.
Then why'd you become a single parent in the first place? Honestly. Oh, man.
But you're the one that laid down and made the decision to have 3 kids. That is not my responsibility. And this
Exactly. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big ups to that grandma because she is talking sense. She's making hella sense right now.
is the last time you're going to do this. You're not doing it anymore. It's your responsibility, not mine. Well, it was not my plan to be no single parent. What?
Are you fucking kidding me? So you're telling me you laid down with a dude, opened up that cooch to him, accepted his penis, and then unprotected, mind you, and you telling me you didn't plan on becoming a single mother? The price ain't right. The price ain't right. Honey, I got 2 words for you.
Emotional damage.
Enough said. Well, let's continue. Fair use.
Oh, it's not my plan to be a grandmother that's going to take care of somebody's 3 kids because they feel like they're not responsible anymore, that they don't want to be a mother anymore either. Well, look, I just can't. I can't do this no more. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. It's depressing. I can't do it. But you're going to have to do it. Do you understand that you're going to have to do this? Okay, but I can't. Do you understand that I'm not going to take care of your children? I'm not getting ready to raise 3 kids. Do you know how old you never taught me how to be a mom. You didn't tell me what to do. You didn't help me. So now it's your turn. You take
Now that's where I can't blame the mom for that. She didn't teach this young girl how to be feminine, how to be nurturing, how to be caring. So yeah, maybe she is to be held accountable in that regard. Don't get me wrong. But I still think she's out of pocket for trying to put that on her. So ladies, when you don't teach your daughters etiquette, common decency, and you know how to vet men properly, this is what the hell you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with women like your daughters are going to turn out just like this, getting pregnant by some dude, coming and then talking about having kids by some dude, and they expect your happy ass to take care of them in their old age. This is why we have to teach our sons and our daughters proper common decency so they don't go around doing stupid stuff like this, because this is ridiculous. Let's hear that again. No, man.
Take care of your children. I'm not getting ready to raise 3 kids. Do you know how old you never taught me how to be a mom. You didn't tell me what to do. You didn't help me. So now it's your turn.
Yeah, didn't teach her how to be a mom. Well, some people say being a parent just takes common sense, but I will say this though, you do have to kind of instill that in your child. Let them show them what a good woman is and show them what being a good parent is about. If you don't teach your daughters that at a young age, when they're older, they're not going to know a damn thing about how to be nurturing, kind, and caring. Even if they do have kids, they don't know what the fuck they doing with these kids. Kind of like what this woman is going through. So yeah, you got to put the blame on the parents. Put some of the blame on these parents as well. Not teaching their kids to be responsible. This is what you end up getting. So anyways, fair use.
You take your grandkids so I can live my life stress-free. Okay, but the reason that I could not teach you how to be a mother, Angel, is because I was working a full-time job. That's not my problem.
Okay, so she's working a full-time job. No doubt as a single mother, so she didn't have time for her daughter. That explains everything, don't you think? That explains everything. Anybody back there listening, come on up here and chime in on this conversation. This woman wants to give up her kids to be with this new man. Her mom didn't have time to teach her a damn thing because she was busy working. That's the fucking problem. I guess her mom didn't have a man of her own, so she had to go out there busting her ass to take care of her daughter. And look what happens. I ain't got a problem with women working, don't get me wrong, but make time for your kids as well. And it's best to have a man by your side while you're doing it. That way y'all can build something together. That's the way they're supposed to work. But that's not what they're perpetuating here. They keep normalizing single motherhood, but then when you get dumbass results like this, a woman that's tired of being a single mother wants to just get rid of her kids to be with this man that doesn't want kids, you wonder where the fuck y'all went wrong at. You want to know where the fuck you went wrong at? No. It always starts in the home. That's where it starts, in the home. Oh my God. Fair use.
I cannot. I'm not. Just hear me out when I say I'm not gonna take care of your 3 kids that you had because you're disrespectful. You just come over here and just drop them off. I have to ask you to watch your grandchildren. No, you're not talking about watching. You just told me I was gonna have to raise them. I have to ask you to raise.
Okay, first of all, you didn't ask your grandma to just watch the grandkids. You said you were dropping their asses off. You want to go be with this younger dude and you want to put the burden on her. That's what the fuck you said for real. Oh, my God. My God. Ooh. This is what happens when you don't teach your daughters etiquette. See. So yeah, I put the blame on not only this young girl, but her mama as well. Instead of working, she should have just had a man to build with her. That way they could have taught this young girl some common decency and taught her how to be a mom. But instead, this is the end result. The apple don't fall far from the tree, as the old saying goes. But anyways, fair use.
Your grandchildren? Oh my God. They're your grandchildren. Oh my God. I can't even believe I'm hearing this from you right now. I cannot believe that you actually think that I'm supposed to say it's okay, that I'm just going to just give up my life, my freedom to raise 3 kids that are not even mine. I raised you all. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
That's just crazy. Want to put that burden on their parent. That's the thing. These young kids want their parents to take care of their kid while they go be free and be for everybody. They ain't that about some shit. He better be worth it. I know he ain't gonna be worth a damn at the end of the day, but shit, for you to give up your kids for a dude, he better be worth it. I'm pretty sure he's not, but I'm just saying, you know. My God. And by the way, the link is in the description if you want to come up and talk about this with me. Yeah, this is crazy right here.
Doing it, so you can forget that. I'm not doing it. You did not raise us. And I'm not raising mine. So it's your responsibility now. So if you don't mind, I can just drive off. You raise your grandchildren. You can do it better than I can. I can't do it. I want you to hear me when I say this. I hear you. I am not raising your 3 kids. I am not keeping them today. I'm not keeping them tomorrow. Matter of fact, this is all your responsibility from this point on. You should have thought about that after you had the first one. And then
You're damn right. As much as I put the blame on the mama for not teaching her how to properly, you know, be a mother herself, I have to agree with the mother. She should have thought about this shit when she had the first child. Seriously, she should have thought about that. Or better yet, keep it at 1. I say have 1 kid and keep it at that. But you know, people gonna do what they want to do. But I agree with the mama on that one. She can't just put that burden on her, you know. But anyways, fair use.
One, and then now you got 3. Hey.
God damn these ads. Okay, give me a second. These damn ads. And we're back. Fair use once again.
Hey, girl, bye. Yeah, well, and I raised all three of y'all.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You didn't.
You had everything that you wanted. I was right there to teach and instill you. I don't even know where this attitude is coming from. I didn't raise you like this, Angel.
Okay, well.
The question, did you do? What kind of raising did you do? How did you raise her to be? That's the question. I mean, earlier she said she didn't have time to teach her anything because she was too busy working. Now you're saying I didn't raise you to be like this. Makes you wonder what did you raise her to be like then? What did you expect? Damn. That's why I say this shit starts in the fucking homes. It always starts with the parents. Again, is she wrong for dropping her kids off at her mama house because she don't want anything, because she want to be with this younger man that doesn't want kids? Absolutely the fuck she is wrong. Why are you going to abandon your own kids for a man that doesn't want kids? Honestly, you're going to prioritize a stranger over your own kids, really? And then put it all on your own mother. Ain't that about some shit? So yeah, she wrong too. And I guess I got to put the blame on her mama too, because she didn't teach her to be responsible. She didn't teach her all this because she was too busy working. And now she got the nerve to ask, what did I raise you to become? Did I raise you to be like this? Based the question. What you think, Swag, if you're back there listening? Swag, if you're back there listening, what do you think? You think she's in the wrong for leaving her kids to her mama so she can go be with this younger dude? Or you think the mama in the wrong because she didn't teach her how to be responsible enough to take care of kids? Or are they both in the wrong? What you think, Swag, if you're back there listening? But anyways, fair use.
Listen, being a single parent will make you angry, mad, upset, and stressed and everything else. And
I could have told you that.
Tired.
But you cannot come over here and drop those children off and think that I'm supposed to say, yes, I'm going to do it, because I'm not. Now.
Exactly, Swag. They both in the wrong. They both in the wrong. Thank you.
Look, hey.
There's no point in you telling them to get back in the car because they're not coming.
I'm not.
They're not coming.
Come on here. Y'all, come on and get in this car.
They're not coming.
I'm not.
Oh, what?
Hey,
what is the point of them getting back in the car?
I'm not
either. So.
Yeah, get in the car here.
Oh, God.
Come on here. Get in the car. Grandma loves you. All right, and I'll see you later. Angel, yeah, we're done talking. We're done. You can go out. Don't get out. Don't get out. What?
Wow.
What in the world?
Get out.
Hey, oh my God. No shit.
Yeah, get out.
Wow. This is crazy. I mean, give the mom credit for at least trying to stand her ground, but damn. This is crazy. Let's continue. Fair use.
Hey, Angel, what is... No.
And there she goes. Ain't that about some shit? Single mother culture, ladies and gentlemen. Single mother culture. Oh my God. What do y'all think about that? Anybody in the comments can chime in on this, or come on the panel and chime in on this ridiculousness or what I talked about so far. Do y'all think single motherhood is a detriment to our society? The baby mama culture is a detriment to our society? Let me know what you think in the comments, or come on the stream and let me know what you think. But this is just sad. Oh my God. Let's hear what Miss Dee Dee Willis has to say about this whole thing.
This chick did. Oh my God. She actually left. I am really. This chick just left. Now these children are going in the house. Oh my God.
I think she's very, very wrong, because this is an extreme entitlement for you to think that someone else is responsible for taking care of the 3 children that you give birth to. Apparently, I understand that usually, like for single mothers who have to like raise children by themselves, even if a person is not a single mother, any mother or parent at all, sometimes you get overstimulated, like with just feel like frustrated due to like having to take care of children. We know it's not easy at all, not easy, but The fact that she just feels so entitled that she can just take it to her mom after when you were having the first child, you didn't know, okay, you know, first child, you can say, okay, it's a mistake. Second child, that is not. Third, no. You made that decision to.
Yeah. Again, she should have learned when she had the first child by this guy that it wasn't going to work. Now you want to abandon all of them just for a younger man? Oh, by God.
Have 3 children, and then you're trying to sound like it's someone else's fault for you having those children. They are her children. She should take
Yep, no accountability whatsoever. I can see it all over her face. No accountability.
For them, I don't see a reason why she thinks that her mother is supposed to take care of them for her, and it's crazy. For like, I'm watching this, I'm like, is this a joke? Because she can't be serious right now, really. So the mother needs to stop whatever she's doing in her life to take care of children that her daughter went.
Okay, Swag said most women learn while other women refuse to learn. Good point. Some want to learn, others just don't want to learn. Yep, that sums it up.
Fair use. Someone consciously. It wasn't unconscious. It wasn't unconscious or subconscious. It was a conscious decision to actually have those children. And then the children experiencing a situation where this one, the mother is chasing them away, telling them to go away. The grandmother is like, go away. So it's like, it's traumatic for children to actually deal with that situation where you feel like you're not being wanted. Nobody wants you. Like, you're a burden. And I can imagine what these children are going to be thinking in their head and how they're going to grow up seeing all this type of drama that's going on. And all these things could be avoided if there's less and less people who who do not have children, because there are a lot of crazy people who do not deserve to have children because they don't even have the maturity to be able to handle children. They are just so crazy. That's just what I'm saying, like, for real. Because I feel so bad for them, though. And I think she's just being...
Yeah, I feel bad for them, too. Because we all know in situations like these, it's the children who are going to suffer the most at the end of the day. So, yeah, it is sad. It's the kids who are going to suffer the most because of bullshit like this. But anyway, it's fair use.
Crazy and entitled to think that her mother is the one who is supposed to take care of her children. She's not even pleading or begging, like, please, can you keep my children from me for some time? She is demanding that the mother, she's like, I'm gonna leave these children for you. And she doesn't care. You can see the nonchalant behavior, like, I ain't taking them. Like, you should take care of them. Like, was it your mom that had those children? I don't understand. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Make sure you let me know what your thoughts are.
Yep, shout out to Diddy Willis for that one. Oh my God. That was just ridiculous. Oh man. Straight up ridiculous. Again, anybody want to come up here and talk about this? Feel free to do so. The link is in the description below. I'm gonna close down at the, if nobody come up within the next, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, I'm gonna shut the stream down. But I do have some more content to show you, but that was just crazy. This is living proof that the single motherhood is just being a detriment to our society. And as I just learned earlier, it all started with the 1960s government welfare. They gave women less of a reason to actually be in marriages and relationships. So now for those of y'all that's just coming into the stream, I see 3 of y'all. Let me show you this video and it'll tell you how it all got started. Damn, where is it? Oh, here it is. Take a look at this, y'all. For those of you that just came to the stream, take a look at this. Fair use, fair use.
Fatherlessness is still a growing issue in this country. The 1960s, some well-meaning policies were put forth that ended up not doing so well. In fact, they actually incentivized single mother households. Specifically, in 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson launched his Great Society, an initiative with the goal of beating poverty, reducing crime, and promoting equality in America. His welfare system was very generous, particularly for single mothers, but there was one rule that ruined it all: the man in the house rule, which essentially said that if you have a working or able-bodied man living in your house, we cannot help you. They even went as far as to send federal agents to these households to make sure that no man was living there. If I was a mom at the time, I would throw the man out of the house too to get that check. These things don't exactly promote marriage. This is exactly why we shouldn't judge policies based on their intentions, but actually on their results, and these results don't bode well.
Well, that's how it all got started. The 1960s welfare is what fucked it all up. So if you're a single mother and you have a man in your house, then basically you don't get government assistance. You basically don't get government assistance. Yeah, exactly. Swag. My point exactly. That's what did it. That's how I felt about the whole thing. A system that was designed to help single mothers financially has torn apart marriages and relationships altogether and give women less incentives to even stay in marriages or stay in relationships. So, yep, that's how it all went down. And I found it kind of ironic that during the slave period, there was way more black boys in two-parent households than it was post-slavery going into the 1960s welfare. Nowadays, you have way more young boys and girls coming from single-parent households back now in more recent decades than it was during the slave period. Because I guess back then they had no choice but to come together and be a family so they can survive. But now, thanks to the government, you don't have to have a family just to survive. My God. For those out there that keep talking about marriage is slavery, I'm not a slave or nothing like that, keep in mind, when slavery was still going on, it was more two-parent households then than it has been in the last 6-7 decades or so. So yeah, maybe you'll appreciate that little fun fact. Yeah, it's a crazy fun fact, but that's how it was. That's just how the shit was back then. But it's it's mind-boggling. Okay, I have another clip to show y'all. For those of y'all that's still back there listening, nope, but nope. Ah, here it is. And shout out to Candace Owens for this one. Let's hear what she has to say.
Forced to take in college a feminism 101 class, which they called Women's Studies 101. Teacher would say, you know, this problem, why did this happen? And the answer was always because of men. She wanted to train us to believe that everything that ever happened to us was because of men. Well, what is she doing with that? She's making it so that we're wearing rose-colored glasses, and no matter what, we think men are horrible human beings, right? And that's an attack on the family, because you can't have a functional relationship if you look up and every time you see a man, you see a problem, right? At the same time, you have policies, I call it, you know, baby mama culture, that are saying to women that you can do it by yourself, you can do it all by yourself. Being a single mom, and listen, you can, right? But you shouldn't have to. So you routinely see this attack on the family, and what's behind that, in my opinion, is government. Because in order for a government to grow, that government needs to make sure you believe that every problem that you have, they have an answer for, not your mom and dad at home.
Once again, Big Daddy government to the rescue. Shout out to Candace Owens. As long as they got people believing that, hey, the government's gonna save you from your problems, they're gonna continue to rely on them for financial support, no matter what kind of rut that they're in. So yeah, the very thing that was made to help women who really need this help is now tearing apart the families. It's a real crapshoot when you think about it. Oh my God, it's something else. But anyways, the link is right there. Anybody want to come up? Feel free to do so. Speak your piece on this whole thing. Donate to my Cash App if you would be so kindly. Yes, I just created that Cash App. So donate to your boy's Cash App. And look me up on Instagram. And when you come up, keep the foul language at a minimum. That's all I ask. Keep the foul language at a minimum. But today's topic, single motherhood is a detriment to our society. And there's your living proof right there. Big Daddy government is really fucking it up for us. Okay, now I have another video on my computer to show you. This will be my last one.
Salary.
All right, here we go. Shout out to Pearly Things. I mean, say what you will about this woman, but hey, I got to give her credit for making some decent content. Say what you will about Pearl. She ain't all that, but hey, if she can give us the facts, it is what it is. Let's hear what she has to say.
And you guys even said yourself.
Oh, yeah, by the way, fair use. Fair use.
How many people here wanted to pay 20% or less of the bills? But what percent of us are in the top 20% of women? And so the men are looking up and asking, what did they get out of it? They don't get purity. They don't get youth. Or none of us are virgins anymore. And they get,
that's a good point. None of us are virgins anymore because, yeah, I mean, she's a single mom, so clearly she's not a virgin anymore. Vagina been ran through by some other man or other men. The purity is gone. So, yeah, what does he get in return for putting up with you? Good point. But anyways, fair use.
In the UK, they get a 31-year-old wife, so she's on the brink of geriatric pregnancy. What?
That's a good point, too. And that's why I said earlier, what the hell am I going to do at 39 years old with a woman that's too old to give me kids? You can't clown us men for wanting younger because they're young, that they're more fertile or whatever. Knowing damn well that dealing with somebody my own age is not going to help because she probably can't give me kids. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
Why on earth would they have a provider mindset for a non-traditional wife?
I mean, there's seven.
Get to the point.
I mean, what I would say to that is there's like, 7 billion men out there. I'm sure you can find the man that you want.
The man that you,
and I encourage women to stand up for what they want.
And that sounds nice, but do you have it?
Yeah,
and that's,
you might not have it.
Yeah, but
where
then
you are now isn't where you're always going to be.
Mm.
So I do believe that if you have a mindset of you're going to get something, you can get it.
Yeah,
you just change.
But can you maintain that?
It's got to be realistic, though, which is what you said in the beginning.
it.
Like, people are so delusional. Like, you've got to keep it realistic.
But I feel like it all depends on how you view life. Like you said, you're spiritual. You view life in a certain way. You like to live a certain way.
No, it's dependent on outcomes.
Yes.
So what do you get?
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So okay, if you want a traditional outcome, like I first ask, are you a traditional woman? And what outcome will you get? What outcome have you gotten in the past? If you've never gotten that outcome in the past, why would you get it in the future by just raising your standards?
No, because I feel like where you are now doesn't mean this is where you're always going to be.
Yeah,
I realize I know that your mindset matters. So whatever you say, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. I don't care what she says. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Right, but this is okay. So if I'm applying for a CEO job and they say, okay, what CEOs have you worked for before? And they say, I've worked minimum wage at McDonald's, but I really want the CEO. But we can talk about that. We want it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
But there's
correct.
been probably situations where that's happened by chance and by going for it.
And people win the lottery and it happens. But I'm not going to go and give general advice and say, oh, that's going to happen for most people.
But the thing is,
that's a good point. What can happen for some people ain't going to happen for every goddamn body. I'm just saying.
Perfect example is Tyler Perry. It's not going to happen for most people, but you just got to want it. That's what I believe. I don't believe that, or totally agree with what you're saying, but I do believe that once you have the mindset and you desire something, I said I'm not in the 20%. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to be one day. Maybe I want to be, and maybe I will be. That's all my mindset and what I choose to do.
You can't be in the 20%.
Yeah, but you got to work towards that,
with a kid.
Who says that?
It's men.
Why can't I be in the 20%?
I'm sorry. It's not.
No, sorry.
Well, when you're a single mother, it's hard dating compared to a childless woman. Unfortunately, that's the truth of the matter.
I'm a mom. Yeah, I'm a mom. Can I finish talking? And nobody can limit me. No one can limit me. There's no limitations.
No limitations, son. Need to remind you that it's hard for single moms today compared to childless women out here. Honestly, you just saw in the last video. Y'all saw that last video. That woman gave up her kid just so she can be with a dude. So yeah, that proves that dating as a single mother is going to be tougher in comparison to a woman who's single and childless. So no, you can't make the comparisons like that. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
So if I want to be in the 20% and I believe I'm going to be in the 20% with my 6-year-old, I am going to be in it.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going to be in that 10%. I'm sorry to tell you. You may not get there. Well, even if you do, it's going to be a long, hard road for you being a single mom and everything, especially if that man does not have kids of his own. Now, if he's a single father himself, well, maybe. But if he's childless, no, that ain't going to cut it. What y'all think in the comments? Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments below. She thinks she can still be desirable despite having a 6-year-old child. I say compared to a woman that's childless, not so much. What do y'all think in the comments? Let me know what you think.
Because that's my mindset and that's how I think. Yeah.
That's your mindset. That's how you think. But yeah, you gotta look at the reality of these situations. You can think whatever you want to think, but reality is always going to hit you hard in the face and override all your feelings. Bottom line.
The top 20% of men what they want,
but that's fine.
And I'm telling you, I've interviewed these men. I've spoken to this.
Yeah, but that's
and
fine.
They don't
that's
want
fine,
single mothers typically.
But typically
they don't. And by the way, say what you will about Pearly things. Yeah, she's full of shit sometimes, but I gotta give her credit for telling the truth. Shit. So don't y'all get mad at me for, agreeing with Pearly things on certain things she said. I still ain't forgot what she said on that previous panel about slavery. I still ain't forgot about that. But no, I give credit where credit is due up in here. You're speaking facts, I'm going to support you. You're speaking bullshit, I'm coming down on your ass. That's how I do it up in here. H&M don't play like that, But anyways, fair use. Oh, by the way, the panel is still open. The panel is still open. If anybody want to come up, and let's continue. Fair use.
They don't want, but I'm sure there's a small percentage that will, and you'll find that percentage.
Sierras exist, but they look like Sierra, and they have Sierra outcomes.
Yeah, but the thing is,
exceptions. They're not the rule.
That's fine. I know I'm not Sierra. I'm Janae
Exceptions
Simone.
are never
So
the
whatever
rules.
Janae Simone wants, if she's going to put her mind to it, she's going to get it. So you might not, the percent or the statistics may go against me, but I know who I am and I know what I want. So yes, I have a 6-year-old.
Oh no, sometimes you just can't beat statistics nowadays. You just can't beat statistics sometimes, Sometimes you just can't beat statistics.
And yes, I was a teenage mom, but that doesn't define me. That's who I am.
I mean, you can defy them, but you can defy statistics by not being a part of it. But come on, once you're in the statistics, there's no getting out of that. I'm afraid it's gonna be even if it is, it's gonna be hard for you to get out of that. But
who I was when I was 18.
I'm not saying it defines you.
No,
I'm saying, but it influences your outcomes.
It influences my outcomes, but it doesn't 100% factual that's going to be my outcome. Yeah. Statistics can say whatever, but from what I believe and where I come from and what I know and what I've seen, what I want, I will get. If I want to be a housewife, I'll be a housewife. If I don't want to be,
do you think it's wise to tell single mothers that they're going to typically be in the top 20%?
I think it's wise to tell single mothers that if you believe.
Sorry. Do you?
Okay, you full of shit now. Oh my God.
I think that's honest.
No, to be honest with you, I don't think
it's not honest, but you're gonna tell them anyway. Really?
That is honest. It's not about honest. It's about letting.
It's not about being honest. Are you fucking serious? Oh God. She said it's not about being honest. Oh my Lord Almighty. Let's hear this nonsense.
People know if you believe something and you're going to work towards it.
It's very unrealistic.
No, but it's not unrealistic.
You got to be realistic about things. Jesus.
It is unrealistic in terms of statistics, and I understand you want to be an exception to the rule, but it's unrealistic to leave single mothers to believe.
It's not about trying to be like.
No, you're unique in your circumstance, and you believe you can obtain that.
It's just who I am. It's not. I don't want to.
Yeah, but you're not everybody. You're speaking from not statistical. Like it's very unrealistic.
Why? So what? I'm gonna say to someone, you're gonna be a statistic.
No, I agree. I get your point of view. I get your point of view, but it's to tell at large single mothers they've got a chance of being.
I'm not telling that. I'm saying
that was the question, though. So I think that's unrealistic.
So do you think?
No, but even I don't think it's unrealistic.
I don't think it's unrealistic.
I don't think so.
But I'm not going to look at someone
factually. Is that not a fact? That
because I'm not going to look at someone. I don't care what.
This girl would not shut the fuck up. Oh God. Let's continue. Fair use.
Situation you're in now. You can be homeless, poor, broke. I'm not going to look at you and tell you your statistics have said you're going to still be homeless.
I agree.
Well, that's not quite the same thing. A homeless person can get out of poverty if he puts his mind to it, get himself together, get an education, yada, yada, yada. But you're talking about you trying to date knowing you're a single mother. You're comparing that to you finding yourself to be desirable as a single mother in comparison to a childless woman. The two are not quite in the same light. Some people can bounce back from being homeless, but when you're a single mother, how are you going to bounce back from out of? How are you going to bounce back from that and be almost as desirable as women who don't have children? Again, it's already been proven that single motherhood is not easy. Whoa, shit. Single motherhood is not easy. And she acting like, oh, it's not a big deal. She can do it. She can still be just as good as any other woman out there. Oh, no, you can't. But anyways, fair use.
I agree. I agree.
It doesn't.
I
I didn't say you.
No, I didn't say
I'm not saying that every single mother is going to die alone.
No.
But I'm saying if they expect to get with the top 20% of men, shit, they might.
Yeah.
They might. Emphasis on the word might.
They're holding out for men that typically don't want them.
Exactly. He wants younger, hotter, sexier, and childless. And shout out to the game changer, #1 entertainer. Put a whip in the game like a lion tamer for that one. That's what they want. Younger, hotter, sexier, and childish, as Game Changer would say.
Top 20%. Yeah. I don't even think I deserve the top 20% of them. Like it's about.
Well, at least she's honest about it. Give her that.
What you think you deserve.
That's saying you're an 8 out of 10 or higher.
Yeah.
But I mean.
But then, like you said before, men don't really. You're saying they don't look at their parents 8 out of 10, so that wouldn't really matter in hindsight. You're saying that they don't look at their parents.
No. It starts with looks.
Okay, but my point of view.
Lip filler.
Yeah, we men are very visual, by the way, and I think women are starting to step up there and be almost as visual as we are. It's bullshit, but that's what's happening. Fair use.
Oh. Okay, well, my point of view is that I would never look at somebody and say, because of where you are today or what you have today or what you've got, you're not going to be able to get.
I would say because of choices.
That's a lie if I ever heard one, but okay.
That you've made. It is
Ah, shit. Here we go again. My damn internet want to act like shit again. Anybody using T-Mobile, you understand what I got to deal with now. Okay, just give me a second here. I'm going to get this shit going again. Because this show is just getting good. Anybody want to come up and chime in while my computer gets situated? Feel free to do so. Anybody in the back want to chime in? What are your thoughts on the single motherhood? You think it's a detriment to our society? Yes, no, maybe.
Like you said before.
Okay, we're back. Fair use as usual.
Outcome.
It's looking at outcomes, but then there's many outcomes that I can change. I'm not going to be the same single mother in 5 years. But I don't believe that, and I'm not.
You're not going to be the same single mother in 5 years. There's just something about that just cracks me. I'm not going to be the same single mother in 5 years. Well, in 5 years, you're still going to be a goddamn single mother. So what's your fucking point? What's your freaking point? In 5 years, you're still going to be a single mother. You're not going to be the same single mother. I wonder how you're going to change yourself. In 5 years, I'm pretty sure men still not going to be checking for single mothers in terms of wanting relationships. So what's changing? What's going to change? Anyways, fair use.
But you can't change what men value. And
but I can find someone that doesn't agree with
you. Can't change what men value. Exactly. Youth, beauty, and fertility. That should never change.
that.
And typically that's not going to be the top 20%.
Typically, that's typically by statistics. It's not going to be 100%. It's not 100%.
Exactly.
It's not 100%.
And miracles happen, but it's not the rule.
It's not the rule, but who said we don't always have to go by rules?
I think it's dishonest to say that it's likely that single mothers are going to get at the top 20%.
It's not dishonest because it's been happened. It's happened. It happens. I'm not gonna. It's not dishonest. I'm letting people know that what you desire is achievable. It's achievable. I'm not going to sit and tell someone because statistics says that you're not going to find someone in 20%. You're not.
But this is why like women like prefer to be lied to. Because that's a lie.
It's not a lie.
Yeah, they want to be lied to so they can feel good about themselves and not hold themselves accountable for their fuckery. That's how that goes. But anyways, fair use.
Okay, blessing. Do men typically want single mothers?
No.
See, that's what.
Well, that's you.
Do you know what it is? That's blessing.
Well, she said that's just you. Well, maybe it is, but that's a majority of men too who are childless and don't have kids of their own. If you're a younger man or older man and you're childless, typically you don't want a single mother. That's the way that goes. And now if you're a single father, well, y'all can work that out. But with childless men, no, they typically don't want that.
Wait, for example, I've been. Do you know what as well? It also depends on what type of single mother you are.
No.
What kind of single mother you are? Okay, you mind explaining that?
Can I finish?
Sorry.
So I'm a single mother. Yes, I am. I was with my daughter's dad for 7 years. That was it. One partner before him, then my daughter's dad. That's it.
Okay, so you were with this man for 7 years and you had another boyfriend prior to that. Okay.
What's the word? How do I explain it? It's not hard for me to find someone, but I'm selective, which I am.
You're selective. Well then, how about the guy you dealt with for 7 years? Were you selective with him? Or did you just put up with that guy because y'all had a child together? I wonder which one it is. What do y'all think?
Allowed to be, but that's because I want to get married. I do not rule out someone like me meeting someone that's going to value them because they don't have a child.
I didn't say you wouldn't find someone
but
who values you. I said the top 20% of men is probably unrealistic.
However,
and it doesn't. All men feel this way.
Yeah, that's okay.
About any kid, because biologically they don't have a biological incentive to do so.
Okay, but just to let you, that's impossible.
Can you say back what I said?
What did you say?
Sorry. Men don't have a biological imperative to raise other people's kids.
Exactly. They're not incentivized to raise other people's kids. No, they're not. But some women will try to force that responsibility on them. That's for sure.
But I've seen happen many times.
Wait. Their goal is to pass on their genes.
Yep. Yeah, but I've seen happen many times.
Okay. Their goal is to pass on their genes.
Yeah, but that's statistically right.
Wait.
And understand something. Exceptions to the rules do not change the rules. Exceptions don't change the rule. Now, some men out there may be okay with being a stepfather to a certain woman, but that doesn't mean everybody gonna hop on the bandwagon and do that shit. I'm sure as hell not. But anyways, fair use.
Wait. Okay. Their goal is to pass on their genes, and so marrying a single mother, they're putting their resources, their time, and their energy into a kid that's not theirs.
Okay.
And legally, they have no rights to.
Okay.
So they could raise a kid for 10 years. You could change your mind tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm not feeling this anymore, and take the kid they raised for 10 years. So.
Yep. Kind of like what you saw in that other video. Dropping her kids off at her mama's house, older kids or whatever, at the mama house because she's tired of being a single parent. Ain't that about some shit? So we all know how that go down. But anyways, fair use.
So wait, and miracles happen, but it's not the rule.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not a miracle. That's not a miracle.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. Where women, it's not the same, because if a guy has a kid, that's like signals other women want him, and so that's a sign of pre-selection. So
yeah, and that's a good point too. Single dads are not looked at in the same way as single moms. Single dads are looked at, like she said, as pre-selected men that another woman procreated with, decided to get with and have a child by. We don't look at single moms the same way, because we all know that the more men that want to be with a woman, the less desirable she's going to seem to a guy that wants to take her seriously. It's the opposite for men. The more women that a man finds, the more women that men, I can't even say this right. For a man, the more women that find you desirable, the higher your level of attractiveness is going to be perceived by one specific woman. So you're basically, if you're pre-selected, you're going to be perceived as attractive. So it's not in the same light for men and women. But fair use, okay, that's the end of the video.
In jungle or whatever. I saw a guy with a kid that said, hey, she picked him and he could take care of that kid, so I should pick him too. So we just don't view it the same.
Yep.
When you have these,
all good points made. Yep, she made some good points there, because she's right. We don't look at single moms and single dads in the same light. A pre-selected man is not going to be viewed the same as a pre-selected woman. There's just no getting around them. There's just no getting around that, I'm afraid. But that's just something that they're going to have to come to terms with. All right. I have one more video to show. If anybody want to come up here, if nobody comes up within the next, I don't know, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes or so, I'm going to shut the stream down, give my final thoughts, and shut the stream down. For those y'all that are back there listening, I appreciate y'all's support. Continue to support your boy. Again, links to the Cash App and the link to my, not Cash App, but links to my Instagram and links to my Cash App. All right, now let me see here. And again, I'm not an advocate for pearly things, don't get me wrong, but I gotta call it like I see it. She's spitting truth, and she's saying some things that I myself can resonate with. And now this goddamn computer want to act like shit again. Oh boy. But I have one more video to show y'all. All right, here we go. Fair use, fair
Girls
use.
with no fathers in the home have lower self-esteem. Okay, fine, that sucks, but also women with low self-esteem are more promiscuous. No father families more likely to be victims of abuse, especially with single mothers. The more opportunities a child has to interact with biological father, the less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with the juvenile justice system. Okay, another way to say that is men and women who are incarcerated, the population of the prisons mostly encompass fatherless homes. Now, here's something that no one else has mentioned, which I think is cool, and I don't really say this eloquently. If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. So if we want to keep children, adults, out of prison, mother, father, or just father. Well, we don't want to hear just father, so let's try to keep the families intact. I think that just seems better.
Yep. So in other words, a single father household can be just as efficient as a two-parent household. That's the message being promoted there. And nothing I ain't already heard before, but that's the message that they was putting out there. And once again, like I said, I'm not going to advocate for single fathers to try to raise kids by themselves. I'd rather be a mom and a dad. But since our world ain't perfect, hell, if I have to choose the lesser, I'm going with the single father household over the single mom household, because at least that father, a good father, mind you, is at least going to have some order and structure within that household. That's just how that goes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was my final video of the day. At least I believe I showed you everything up to this point. Oh, wait. Here's one more video I forgot to show you. God damn. Okay, here we go. And shout out to Crew Seasons for this one.
Men don't want to date single mothers, or men always talking about single mothers, this, that, and the third. This is a perfect example as to why. Because again, you expect this man to come in, be the man of the house, pay all the bills, be romantic, do all that, be a father to a son that he didn't have. That's not my son.
But he has no say-so.
But he has no say-so in the discipline. He has no say-so in the guidance. He has no say-so in how this house is going to be ran in regards to your son. So how do you expect me to be the man of the house when every time that I try to tell him something that's right, you bucking the system because you getting emotional, because you damn the message I'm saying, you processing it as, no, you can't tell my baby nothing.
Because it's my baby.
It's my baby.
Yep.
So as a man, how enticing is that of a situation to walk into? That's why men don't want to date single mothers. That's why.
Shout out to AC Trill for that. That's the reason why we don't want to date single mothers. Because we have little to no authority when it comes to not only running a household, because it's probably her house, but no authority over disciplining the kids because they're not our children. It ain't like it used to be back in the day where women were choosing competent men to run their household. And not only that, most of the women back in the day were widowed women, not a bunch of irresponsible single mothers by choice. So no, we don't want to deal with that. Your kids act out of pocket, I give my ass whooping, and now I'm the fucking bad guy? No, I'm not. I prefer not to even deal with that nonsense, tell you the truth. I'd rather not just deal with that bullshit. Ugh, man. But yeah, that's all the content I have to show for y'all today. And apparently nobody came on the panel, but that's okay. I guess I'll take the next 5 minutes to give my final thoughts if nobody come up within that time period. Oh well. Better luck next time. Better luck next time. Ugh. All right, this damn computer be acting like shit sometimes. But anyways, since nobody came up to talk about this with me, yeah, well, it is what it is. I understand y'all busy, y'all be at work, so I ain't tripping. Especially you, Swag, my man. I have a hard enough time trying to tune into you and Melanie's kill him sweetly, or y'all growing in sexy conversations. So I get it. Trying to tune into that shit while I'm at work or just getting off of work, yeah, boy, it's a nightmare. But anyways, I try. In the words of Akon, I tried so hard. But anyways, yeah, this was an interesting topic, to say the least. So as for my final thoughts, anybody want to chime in and give their final thoughts, they're welcome to it. So as for my final thoughts, I agree. Single motherhood is a detriment to our society. I mean, okay. As I was saying, single motherhood is the single mother culture is a detriment. And I think it's just crazy how we see way more single mother households and way less two-parent households. We see more single mother and way less single father households. And we can establish that, and as I established earlier, the single father household may be the lesser of the two between that and the single mother household. I prefer both parents come together. And as we just established at the beginning of the stream, it all started back in the 1960s with the welfare programs. And of course the golden rule of the man in the house rule, meaning that if you have a working capable man in the house with you, you can't get no government assistance. They will literally send agents to your house to make sure that there is no man over there. So this gave women less incentives to stick around with their men just so they can collect some government money. You would think they would have the common sense to reject that and just say, you know what, I'm gonna stay within my femininity and get me a good man instead of trying to live off the government. Because at the ending of the day, the government ain't gonna protect your ass from getting mugged in the streets. The government ain't gonna be checking your house when you got somebody creeping around your backyard at night. They're just gonna give you your check and go about your day, and then feature a bunch of propaganda just to keep you coming back for more. Keep women like yourself single and coming back for more of their benefits. That's all it's really doing. And again, I find it kind of ironic that during the slave period, you had way more black boys and girls in two-parent households, way more so than post-slavery, because people consider being in a marriage slavery. Well, look back at the slave periods, you would know there was way more two-parent households during that time period and more family reunions back then than it is today. Well, post-slavery and post-1960s government welfare. So it was more family unity during the slave period time. That's the crazy thing about it. I never knew that. A time where you had no free will to do whatever you wanted to do is a time that promoted unity amongst black people. But that freedom from it is what tore it all apart. That freedom, while the freedom was nice to have, don't get me wrong, it's good to have that freedom. I mean, who doesn't want their goddamn freedom? But the 1960s welfares will fucked it all up. So now women don't have to feel like they're bound by the shackles of a traditional marriage or relationship. They can just now say, fuck marriages, fuck relationships. I'm just gonna get the government to take care of me. The women's liberation movement didn't make it any better. Now women can be sexually active as long as they use contraceptives and protection or whatever. Again, putting a damper on marriages and relationships. So as we move further and further away from the slave periods, more and more families and relationships begin to just crumble. Less and less two-parent households and what were happening, and more single mom households were starting to come out of the woodworks. Ain't that about some shit? Ain't that about some shit? Moving away from the very thing that left us oppressed, only to step into more oppression. That's what it kind of looks like to me. That's why nowadays it's hard to find a traditional minded woman. It's hard to find one. Even if you found one, she's going to be bashed and hated by all these sisterhood type women that are going to feed a bunch of bullshit about you don't need a man for this, that, and the third. Yeah. And those that have the common sense to stay strong, they're not going to get praise anymore. They're always going to have the sisterhood coming down on their asses. So yeah, it is a detriment to our society. And as we established earlier, boys who come from single parent households are more likely to exhibit violent behavior, wound up in jail, on the streets, or worse, in the ground, buried 6 feet under. They all came from single parent households. Even Tupac Shakur came from a single parent household. No father around to enforce law, order, and structure. So this is what the fuck happened. It's, in the words of Metallica, sad but true. Yeah, it is. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. I didn't get to have a discussion with anybody on the panel, but and by the way, like I said, dating to marriage support, my bad. My night bot is acting a fool again, so I did not mean to put y'all in timeout. My bad. Don't be mad at me when I go live with y'all next week, okay? So shout out to Lady Di and Sir James. Shout out to Killer Swag. Get that bag. You don't be caring about them price tags. Yeah. Appreciate you for always sliding through, showing your support. You couldn't come on the panel, but it's all good. Appreciate you. I appreciate your support nonetheless. But yeah, this was an interesting show. I felt like it was good to talk about it. I do this simply to spread awareness. I do this simply to get some thoughts off my chest. He said, y'all can always come to my channel. Of course, we can always come to your channel. Always. I'm practically family to you, Melanie, and the Grown and Sexy crew, so I may as well. And like I told you, Swag, you and Melody got to be the first panelists ever to make me an honorary member of some YouTube group or whatever you want to call it. I feel like I'm being I'm being initiated to some college fraternity. Not that I ever did that in college, but I'm just saying that's what it feels like. Appreciate that on you and Melanie's part. Too bad she couldn't come up here, but it is what it is. We all busy. And at some point, I'm going to have to change my times for doing these live streams too. But it is what it is, right? So once again, shout out to Killer Swag. Shout out to Dating, Marriages, and Support. Even though nobody came on the panel, I still appreciate y'all for coming in, stopping by to support your boy with the 3-hour, 40-minute mark. Once again, the names Hustler and Muscular, also known as H&M. And you know what I do, giving you the truth straight out the booth, hitting home runs like Babe Ruth, because that's what I do. Take care. Deuces.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life, a real Mars is nothing left. Cause I've been brassing and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never cost a man that didn't deserve it. Be treated like a bro, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking. Or you and your homies might be lying and joking. I really hate the joke, but I gotta love. As they cope, I see myself in the pistol smoke pools. I'm the kind of G that let the homies wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the sheet line. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Took out the situation and they got me facing. I can't ever know it. I was raised by the shit, so I gotta be there with the little team. Too much Stella bitch and watch it got me chasing jeans. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my tin in my hand and the cream in my eye. I'm for loped out cakes to set, chip and bacon. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my acres. Fool, that ain't like nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm never like do it down. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I let the C24 the way they just going? I don't know. Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Power at them Bunny in the power. Been it after me, power after hour. Everybody's ready, whatever I may look at it's going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's chicken. They say I got the learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they teach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they fuck. That's why I do my life designers up for. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life, a real Mars is nothing left. Cause I've been brassing and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never cost a man that didn't deserve it. Be treated like a fraud, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying and joking. I really hate the joke, but I gotta love. As they cope, I see myself in the pistol smoke pools. I'm the kind of G that let the homies wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the sheet line.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Took out the situation and they got me facing. I can't ever know it. I was raised by the shit, so I gotta be there with the little team. Too much Stella bitch and watch it got me chasing jeans. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my tin in my hand and the cream in my eye. I'm for loped out cakes to set, chip and bacon. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my acres. Fool, that ain't like nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm there but like through Italian. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I let the C24 the way they just go and I don't know.
Tell me why are we so blind to see that the one we hurt are you and me? Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Power at them buddy, bunny in the power. Been it after me, power after hour. Everybody's ready for that, but I may look at this going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's chicken. They say I got to learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they teach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they fuck. That's why I don't want like this island's up for.
Been